everybody. I'd like to welcome you to the Otero, County of Otero, New Mexico regular meeting agenda, July 8th. We could have a roll call, please.
Commissioner Madden.
Here.
Commissioner Griffin.
Here.
Commissioner Markford.
Here.
At this time, if you'll all stand for the invocation, Commissioner Markford will lead us.
Father, thank you for the rain for this thirsty state. Please help our country fight off the socialists that are trying to take over and ruin America. Father, please be with the parents that are fighting for their children's education. We will never support teaching American children to hate this country and to hate each other. Guide us with your wisdom and courage. Amen.
Amen.
Follow us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico and the symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
All right, this time I'd make a motion for the approval of the agenda. Can I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. All right, at this time, if we'd have a report from the Sheriff's Department. Sheriff Black.
Good morning.
Good morning, Sheriff. How are you?
David Black, Otero County Sheriff. For June of 2021, Otero County Sheriff's Office responded to 2,417 calls for service, generating about 160 investigative reports. We issued 63 traffic citations, investigated 60 traffic crash investigations, and all that work resulted in 61 total arrests for the month. In our narcotics division, we had 6 search warrants served. They made 13 arrests. I had 24 case reports. In June, we did not have any money seized, but they did seize 184 grams of meth, 3.2 grams of heroin, about 20 pounds of marijuana, and 27.5 grams of fentanyl. A total of about $35,993 worth of illegal narcotics seized for the month. So far, halfway through the year, we've seized $492,093 worth of illegal drugs. In our special events, public relations, we did not have any for the month of June. In training, for June, we did complete numerous makeup trainings for our biannual and our annual training. We are just about done with that, so that'll be nice. We also hosted a taser instructor class. This is something that I've been trying to implement and work on, trying to host these classes instead of us having to send people all over the country. We're starting to host them, and people are sending their law enforcement personnel here. We did have 18 members of law enforcement from around the state attend the class and receive their certification as taser instructors. In our manning situation, 2 months ago, a reporter, we were down numerous positions. As it stands now, with the new hires that we have in the process, hopefully when we get done, we'll have 5 open positions. I think we had about 13 2 months ago. So I've been pushing this really, really hard to get people hired, get them in here and get these positions filled. We recently hired 2 dispatchers, one in a full-time capacity, one in a part-time capacity. The full-time dispatcher recently decided this was not for her and moved on to a new job. So we'll be looking at, we are taking applications. I do have 2 full-time positions open. We'll take applications for a few more days and then try to get those filled. We have 2 candidates in the background phase for a community services officer position. Hopefully within the next 2 weeks we'll have them in place and helping us out with our animal control, paper service, subpoena services and stuff like that. We also have 2 candidates in the background phase for courthouse security and transport. Again, hopefully in about 2 weeks we'll have them on board. They'll help us with our again, courthouse security, and then they'll be on a rotation basis for helping with transport of prisoners. I do have one new hire for a deputy that on the 25th, he'll be headed to Santa Fe to start the academy up there. I have two new hires for deputy. They are currently in the FTO program, and we'll be sending them to Santa Fe in September. These two will not have to attend a full academy. They'll do a cert by waiver, a 2-week program, because they're either, one of them certified here, but he's been out of law enforcement for over 2 years, so he's got to go through a 2-week waiver. The other one's certified out of Texas, so he'll have to do a 2-week waiver also. We have one new hire for deputy. He will start on the 15th, and we'll get him through pre-academy training, everything, to get him prepared for the academy in January. In addition to the 2 dispatch positions, we do still have 3 positions open for deputies. We are taking applications right now for Deputy 1, Deputy 2. Deputy 1 is basically the non-certified persons. Deputy 2 would be somebody that carries a certification either New Mexico, Texas, or anywhere really that we can get through the 2-week waiver. My goal is by the end of the year, I want to have all these positions filled. We have been without some investigators for quite some time, so that's my goal, get all these positions filled and get 2 of these guys into an investigative position. Some of these cases that are lengthy, time-consuming, I need some people to help assist with those investigations. On our new vehicles, we have 3 of them that have been completed. They are in rotation now. We got 3 more they're being worked on, and then we got one that, due to a lot of the nationwide chip problems and all, that truck's still not here yet. They were telling me about 3 weeks is when we should have that truck in. And I'll stand for questions if you have any.
No, this sounds like it's a very active month with that many. Maybe it's just the vacation season that's hit or something, I don't know, but it's awful active.
And you'll just see in the summertime, all our calls, everything goes up, significantly. So.
The only other question I have for you is if we're still working with the lady in Dove Canyon on Norma?
Norma
Still-
Young?
Yeah.
Yes, we spoke with her again yesterday.
Okay.
I was going to have Under Sheriff Jett do a briefing on that. He is currently en route to Santa Fe to turn in a packet for this guy to get into the academy. So we will get with you on that. Like I said, we've talked with her 3 times now. And I believe we have a solution to the problem. Got it taken care of, but
Okay.
again, we'll brief on that, and I'll let you know for sure on that.
That's
I know
all
you went to the border with some other sheriffs. I'd kind of like for you to tell everybody about that, what that experience was like.
That was pretty interesting. I think there was 52 sheriffs from the United States showed up over there. We got a briefing from a lot of people. Most memorable to me was Mark Morgan. He kind of told us what it was all about. So, but listening to the people in our presentation was very interesting. Just to see, not only is it, it's not just us. I mean, this is a nationwide deal. But what was even more interesting to me was when we got done with the presentation, we all went to the Ladd Ranch, which is right down on the border, and we got to talk with the ranchers, the people that live down there, and we got to talk with sheriffs and PDs, chiefs of police and stuff that this is happening in their backyard. So they were able to tell us, what they're seeing. I remember vividly one sheriff says that in the past 6 months, they have located 24 bodies on their ranch. People trying to cross and stuff, and they didn't make it. Wow. So that was kind of stuck in my head, that the other thing is, with the southwest border and stuff we're seeing with it, I hear that it's closed, but even when we were down there, it's not closed. Drugs, everything that's coming through, it's not stopping once they cross the border. This stuff is going across our nation. It's going to every city in our nation, and it's going to get worse. I did some research the other day with our narcotics unit. We put a special team together for overdose, death investigations. In the past month, we've had 14 in Otero County.
Wow.
So we've put a team together to investigate these. We're trying to work backwards from the overdose death. Where did they get it? Who did they get it from? So we're working on that. I believe 3 of the cases right now, we're going to, with the help of some of our partners and stuff in this, we're going to be filing charges, homicide charges on 3 of these people.
Wow.
But we're going to keep working on it. Again, this is, you know, even you see the 27.5 grams of fentanyl. I mean, that stuff is coming through like crazy. Next month's report, you'll probably see a whole lot more, because we've already had one big hit for this month. Lots of fentanyl coming across the border.
Thank you for going down there.
Yeah, we appreciate all your hard work, David. While you were there, I haven't really been that engaged as far as the situation with our border wall. What's the status there? Is there any other construction on it right now, or I mean, I've heard rumors that they're taking parts of it down where migratory animals are crossing, and I mean, what's this? Did you hear any of the status on the wall while you were there?
I did not hear anything as far as taking down of the wall. I know the construction is basically
Completely
stopped.
stopped.
I know they talked about trying to get rid of some of the materials that are there
Yeah.
to construct. You know, they're talking about getting rid of those, and it's going to cost them a fortune just to get rid of the materials.
We could take it off their hands and we could put it right around Otero County. It might work. No.
So, yeah, but
Yeah.
as far as taking any part of the wall,
Yeah, no.
nothing was even discussed on
Okay.
that. So.
Well, on the political end of it, I know that you guys are constantly up against dealing with the repercussions of the decisions made in Santa Fe. But with the recent legalization of marijuana, now it's legal to be in possession of two ounces or
2
grams
ounces.
or however they do
Yeah,
it?
2
2
ounces.
ounces. So that's legal then. The thing that I question is they legalize marijuana without any infrastructure in place to sell regulated recreational marijuana. So how do you guys deal with that? I mean, with all the selling of the narcotics and the drug dealers and such, now as long as they keep it underneath 2 ounces, then everybody's good to go, huh?
Yep.
So, I mean, it's just so crazy to me. I mean, if I was in the drug business, if I was selling marijuana, it would be fantastic for the state of New Mexico to legalize it, but then not have any infrastructure in place to legally sell it. It just creates such a huge opportunity for the cartel and for drug dealers. And I don't know if that point is ever even brought up to anybody in Santa Fe. I mean, I know our governor. I don't know. I don't have any confidence in her leadership right now as far as it goes. But it just seems like it's just about the stupidest thing that we could possibly even entertain doing, is to legalize marijuana without infrastructure in place to regulate it and legally sell it, you know?
Right. But what we tried to do is the Sheriff's Association, we brought in speakers from Seattle, Washington, Oregon, Colorado, places that had already been legalized.
Yes.
We brought them in and we had meetings trying to, this is what happened in Colorado when it was legalized.
Yeah.
This is unintended consequences.
Yeah.
And we tried to bring that information to them.
Yeah.
We really, in my opinion, it was in one ear and out the other.
Yeah.
You know, and my biggest fear right now still is, driving while high. You know, we don't have a way to test for that.
Yeah.
You know, they wanted to try to get DREs, drug recognition experts, get all these police, agencies, but, and get DREs trained up within the department. And a DRE, basically, you pull somebody over, you suspect they're high on marijuana or drugs. The DRE is going to do tests on them to see if there's indicators of it, and basically that's all we do to test them.
Yeah.
Now, is it going to stand up in court? I guarantee you, defense attorneys are going to get a hold of it and they're going to tear it apart. It's not going to stand up in court until we have a way to test for marijuana in the bloodstream.
Dangerous all the way around.
It is. It is.
Well, and I know I hit on it a couple meetings back, and it's something that we can continue to consider. But we've had dry counties. There's dry counties for alcohol in the state of New Mexico.
Right.
Might still be. I don't know. I mean, I know that the eastern side of the state. So, I mean, if we really needed to hunker down and take a stand, we could just see what legal premise those counties had as far as to declare themselves as a dry county and try to follow that same legal recourse. And, I don't know. It's just, it's like when the barn's on fire, you got to do something, and not to say that this is going to completely burn our house down, but, I had somebody I love take their kids to the fireworks show here in Alamogordo a few days ago, and they said the smell of marijuana smoke was so thick around there, they just left,
Right.
And that's what we're going to run into with this, and why I think that we as commissioners and you as a county sheriff, we need to protect those that don't want to go out and don't want to go to a marijuana party every time there's a public function going on. Somebody wants to smoke it at the house, smoke it at the house,
Right.
But being out in public, if it's being intoxicated or smoking it, I think that we really need to start looking down those roads as far as how we can put safeguards in where people aren't subjected to it,
Right. I understand that.
But yeah,
And I think you'll notice, like on the seizures, 19.4 pounds of marijuana. Normally that's up 30, 40, 50 pounds.
Yeah.
Okay? The marijuana is not coming in like it used to. I think you'll see the marijuana numbers drop. The meth and fentanyl numbers are going to jump.
mm-hmm.
There's no money in marijuana anymore for the the cartels and stuff. So they've gone to these other drugs to make their money.
What if you catch somebody that sells somebody else under 2 ounces of marijuana? Is there still, you get them for operating without a business license,
Well, and there's so many different things in play as far as, the people, you can grow it in the house. You have so many plants, per, you got 4 people in the house.
Sure.
You
got a garden in the backyard.
You can sell 12 plants per person.
Sure.
You can grow it. So it's it's going to be a problem that we're going to have to address as it comes along.
Yeah.
Again, the laws are. There are so many in this particular bill.
Yeah.
It's very hard to understand. We've had to study it, read it numerous times. We've had to put stuff out to memos to our deputies, and okay, this is what you're going to enforce. This is how you can enforce it. And there's also that you can't enforce this portion of it anymore. So it's going to be a kind of a learning experience as we go along. But
Yes, sir.
Personally, I just don't see a whole lot of good coming out of it.
Well, I think I understand your position pretty clearly on it, and I just want you to know I support you, and I'd be willing to stand behind you and advocate for you in any way I can inside my capacity.
Appreciate it.
You bet
Thank
you
you.
did. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
You bet. Thank you.
Emergency services?
Morning, Commissioners. Matt Clark, Emergency Services Director.
Morning.
Unfortunately, my main computer program through the fire administration is down, so I don't have a summary report for our fire and EMS for the month of June. Slash pit was 170 loads over the month of June, and I suspect that that's going to go higher for the month of July with the rains that we got through the end of June and July. Down at Chaparral, the junkyards, I've been told that both of them on Hermosa and State Line have fences around them now to put them in compliance with that portion of the codes.
The screen fences where you can't see through?
Correct. And with that, I will stand for questions.
I'm sure Tom will get into a bunch of it, but we never had any emergency services where from the flooding, nobody was trapped, no injuries.
No injuries that were reported to me. We did have in the area of Valley Drive and I think that's Canyon, some voluntary evacuations in case the Arroyo River overfilled, but everyone was able to get out safely that wanted to leave there. And then, yeah, Tom will have the road reports, I'm sure. A lot of damage to some of our roads.
I went down to Chaparral after it was the 5th. I saw where you placed all the dumpsters at. I hope they weren't heaping full. I couldn't see anything sticking out of the top, so I'm hoping they got used some, but I could not believe the trash on the side of the road still from what those people left.
A lot of trash on the side of the roads. We did get a couple pictures. They were very kind and placed the trash in front of the dumpster because adding it to the dumpster was extra work, I guess. But the pictures that I did see for the dumpsters, maybe a quarter full.
Yeah, that's kind of a sad deal that they carry the stuff in, but they're not going to carry it out.
No. And we did have Alamo Fireworks. We placed that one on State Line in 54, and on the 5th, their employees were out picking up and utilizing the dumpster there, picking up all the trash that others had left, trying to maintain that area down State Line. So
I think we need to really encourage people to use that slash pit because I know with these rains and with them coming down those arroyos, everybody dumps their limbs and all that crap in those arroyos, and then it floods out and that makes a big old fat mess.
It does, and most of that is on private property, and they just utilize it as their own personal, and it affects everyone downstream. And that's why we lost a good portion of Valley Drive. The culvert just got plugged up with trash that was in the arroyo from upstream.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to happen. I don't know. I know that arroyos, I mean, if it's inside our area, I think that the limbs and stuff have a purpose in backfilling in the arroyos. But you probably already know the question I'm going to ask you. What's the status on the Three Rivers deal, and what's the status on the investigation? And
still ongoing.
So they don't have you haven't had anything back from the Forest Service as far as who started the fire, where the fire was started, and what kind of efforts have you made to find out that information? Have you got a hold of Travis Mosley or Randall or any of them out there to get? Have you pushed on them at all from the county side to find out who started that fire?
I've been speaking with their PIO.
And what's their response as far as why they can't give us an update on where the investigation's at?
It's just ongoing, and that's where they're at with it.
you know, and I know I expressed it last meeting, but if that fire was man-made, it was caused by man, and I've heard that it was one that finally did the trick, but there was other fires that were started before that intentionally that didn't take off like the Three Rivers fire did. But if we have someone inside of our community in our area that's that's starting these fires, or we need to know, and this they need to find out who did it, and they need to be brought to justice. And I mean, that's the way the law is supposed to work. So I don't know if I guess maybe I can reach out to them, but I'd want by next meeting, by the next commission meeting, I want some type of an update on where at, and if they have any suspects in place, and if we're ever going to have any closure to this. I mean, that fire burned up thousands of acres of our public lands, and we as the public should have a right to know where this investigation is at, what's going on with it, and instead of keeping it behind closed doors down at the Forest Service. So if you can push on them a little bit, I'd appreciate it.
Okay.
And if you can't get anywhere inside the next week or 2 weeks, then please let me know, and then I'll go down there and I'll see if I can find where Travis is at, and I'll ask some questions from my side. But I appreciate it, Matt.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Yep.
Road Department.
Good morning,
Morning,
Commissioners.
Good
Tom.
morning.
Hang on one sec, Tom. David, on that back deal that Commissioner Griffin was just talking to Matt about, does our sheriff department have anything entitled to that? They're not tied to that at all?
I just jotted some notes, yeah. I'll see what I
Yeah, it'd be good. I mean, it was a huge fire, and it was a big deal, and it destroyed thousands of acres and cost the taxpayers millions of dollars. And now they don't even give us the graces of even allowing us to know where the investigation's at. I think it's very unfair. I think the people of this county have a right to know. So appreciate that, David.
Yeah, Tom?
Good morning. First and foremost, I'd like to thank David Black and the Sheriff's Department and Matt and Emergency Services for all the help they've been the last couple of weeks with all the flooding we've had. They've been great on diverting traffic for us while we got roads put back into shape. Last month we finished up basically prepping for the rest of our chip seal. As soon as Mother Nature cooperates, we'll get back on that. We did a major thinning along Upper Pennyasco Road in Wills Canyon last month, finished it up, and then we've spent the last 2 weeks playing in mud.
Praise God.
Well, we've managed to get just about everything open back up, other than the road to the little chapel up at Three Rivers. That's going to have to wait for everything to dry up so we can get in there. The Riata Bridge, of course, has been on hold right now with all the weather we've had with it. Subgrade could not continue. So.
On the Riata Bridge deal, when we went out there the other day and looked, the riprap basket that had settled, is that going to be addressed to whether we need more riprap?
Well, I'm sure it will be once we get in there and see what we've got.
Okay. I know Mario was there and he saw it, so they're aware of it.
It's coming along good. It looks good.
Yeah, it would have been done this week if it hadn't been for the last couple of weeks of weather. So.
Yeah, I was out there the other day, and they had all that bar tied down in the bottom of that ditch, and I thought,
It's all poured.
Oh, you got
Yeah,
it.
they got everything on the bottom poured.
Good.
Riprap's tied in. A little bit of it did settle, as Commissioner Madley stated. The deck is poured. Basically, all we're waiting for now, there is some grade work that needs to be done. But the roadway, the base course was placed. It had never got spread out. So now they're waiting for the subgrade to dry out so they can get it placed and ready for pavement.
Been a busy man.
Been a long 2 weeks. I got stuck.
Yeah.
So on the Mesa, on the mesa, what kind of, did they got the same type of flooding that we've had here, or is it?
2 or 3 roads down by Bobby's. Of course, that low water crossing, they have to keep reworking it. Dale Leaf has had a couple of them that he's had to hit 2 or 3 times. The northwest part of the mesa, not so bad. Going up through Owen Prather, Gary actually had to hit it twice this week to make sure it was passable. And that's all we're working on right now. We're not working on making them look pretty. We're working on making them passable and safe. We'll get back in once we get through this little bit of a wet spell. We'll start reworking them, especially a lot of the subdivisions up in, between Mayhill and Cloudcroft.
Gwen, I believe, had a question for Tom.
I just wanted to ask if we have another date that might be set for the Riata Bridge.
Not as of yet. Well, if they're talking another storm event coming in Sunday night and into Monday and Tuesday, if that hits, we're back to square one.
Well, I understand if you can get it up and get the base on there, that
Yep.
the work can still be done.
Yes, but we gotta wait for subgrade to dry out enough that they can get that base course in. According to the contractor and the emails that were flying around this morning, subgrade is still too wet for them to place the base course.
And Gwen, that part right there is a very important part of this, because if they do go back on it when it's wet, then when it does dry out, or you're either gonna have a big major sinkhole right there, or it's gonna cause the other part to heave, and then we'll be tearing it all apart again and redoing it, so.
Well, believe you me, I understand that, since my ditch runs
Heavily.
bad.
All right,
That's another.
I have no questions.
I just know that those folks on Riata are dying to get that bridge open. It's a long commute whenever
Yeah,
they
it
have to
is.
drive around all the way around, but hopefully it'll be soon. Appreciate you, Tom.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Tom.
The detention center?
Good morning,
Morning.
Good
Commissioners.
morning.
Nina Sisler, Deputy Director, Otero County Detention Center. I'm sitting in for Carolyn Varela. So today's count in the in-facility for detainees is 150. We have 123 males, 27 females, 21 at Hudspeth County, 3 at Otero Prison, and 3 at Department of Corrections. On July 4th, our kitchen vendor did provide a special meal for the inmates to celebrate the 4th of July. And I saw they call it a dummy tray, but it looked very presentable and very nice. So no complaints on that aspect. We did have interviews on June 21st and 25th. They have 2 applicants that will start, one on July 13th and the other will start on the 26th. And we received 2 more applications yesterday, so I'm pretty excited. Housing unit, we had the last female housing unit completed on July 1st, so we have all our female housing back, yay. Thankful for that. The laundry has been going well since the shutdown. I mean, we go out on Fridays to do the whites, but as far as the service, the vendor that's taking and picking up, we haven't had any issues. So it's been going pretty smoothly. The construction companies and subcontractors have been replacing lighting in the administration area, and that's been going well. And they started on Tuesday, the remodeling, going through the director's office to her new office. So it seems to be going pretty smoothly. The counselor has been working on an agenda for group counseling. I haven't seen it yet. I know she's going to prepare it so we can start that too. As far as contraband in the facility, through the mail is a big thing. That we get a lot of mail that has Suboxone on it. It's been confiscated and turned over to the sheriff's office. In our facility, we didn't have any illegal contraband, but we find razors and things and people's personal things that could be dangerous for staff. Courts are having more in-person hearings, so we still have to do the quarantine, which it's going to get pretty full in some of our areas, so we'll have to finagle and move around people to accommodate that. And we are still presently meeting with Judge Schneider every Tuesday to go over some issues that we may be having as far as transports and other things. And that's it. Any questions?
Yes, have you had any luck on your hiring part?
Yes, we have 2 starting, and we have 2 new applicants that have been submitted to the sheriff's office for backgrounds. So that's exciting for us. And 2 will start. One starts actually July 13th, and one starts July 26th. So we'll start the other one probably in the control rooms, and then when the other one gets here, then we can do the actual classroom part of it, and then they can start on the floor. So we're pretty excited about that. So.
Good.
That's good news.
Are you still about 20 down? Are you still around 20 people short right
With
now?
those 2, we'll fill in the 2, so we'll get it up to about 18.
About 18.
And then if
18
the other 2 do pass everything, we're hoping it'll, we're seeing the light a little bit, so we're kind of excited. Positive, got to think positive, hopeful. So,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Any other question?
That's all I have.
Okay.
No, I don't think
Thank
so.
you.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate you.
Project manager report?
Good morning, Commissioners. Trent
morning.
Parker, Project Manager. The rains, although well needed, have caused many issues on every project, which we're still assessing any possible associated cost with that. So nothing to report yet on that. The detention center, as Nina said, we are complete with the women's dorms. The laundry's going well. The rain's not hurt us a whole lot, but hasn't helped a whole lot either. But it's ongoing. They're prepping for the new slab. All the demo was complete. All the new footings were placed, and so now we're prepping for the new concrete. And so it seems to be that we're still good on track for that. The director's office, they did go in and do some demo and some new framing to bust through into the new addition. And while the director is out, it made it a whole lot easier to be in her office tearing it up. But they are changing out lighting throughout the building. We have had several rain events that have halted our medical addition footings. We haven't been able to dig any additional footings to keep progress going on that. So that'll be maybe some possible added days to the contract, because that is part of the critical path of the project. So we'll see once that assessment is complete. We're on the shooting range. The lead abatement was complete, and the full range is back open, and it looks nice. We removed 13,800 pounds of lead off of the range. So, or
And a bunch of
31,800 pounds. So, I mean, it's a lot of lead abatement. The Lalu solid waste scales have been kind of at a standstill because of the rain. They did get the hole dug. The concrete's formed and the reinforcement bars are in place. It's ready for concrete. You just have to wait for it to dry out enough to place that. Timber on fire station, the pad was completed. All utilities were roughed in, footings were dug, and then the rain started. So we've kind of been at a halt with that. They've been trying to maintain the water on site and keep the footings pumped out, but until we get a little bit of relief, we're at a standstill. That's about it. Riata Road, Tom gave you guys a briefing on that. We are putting pressure on them to try to utilize good weather days, no matter what day that falls on, to try to help us and assist in getting that roadway back open.
Trent, I have just one question for you on the prison in Chaparral, the re-roof that we did down there. Did you get any reports of any kind of leaks or anything like that?
No, sir. No, they said it's completely dry, the last I'd heard.
Well, good, that's a good sign.
They got a good test.
Right. That's a really good roofing system. It was, We had a few problems with the application of the final coating that got resolved, and I mean, we have a great product down there.
Good. Sounds
Yep.
good.
That's all the.
Oh, no. I don't think Eric's not on here, so maybe what about this building here? What about that leak?
It was a clogged drain on the roof.
Oh, was it?
Yes,
Perfect.
it's since
Good.
been
Well,
cleaned.
that's easy enough.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, thank you,
All right,
Trent.
thank you.
Thank you. So at this time, we'll move to the consent agenda items. Nothing is being pulled, so I'll go through and read them all and we'll make a motion. Consent item number 1, request approval of accounts payable bills list BL number 49, BL number 50, BL number 51, and BL number 52. Item 2, request approval of June 4th special meeting minutes. Item 3, request approval of June 10th, 2021 regular meeting minutes. Item 4, request approval of the healthcare assistance claim and deposition claims for July 2021. Item 5, request approval of resolution number 07-08-21/109-69 budget adjustment, the CODC project and American Rescue Plan. Item 6, request approval of resolution number 07-08-21/109-68, fiscal year 2021, final quarter financial report. Item 7, request approval of resolution number 07-08-21/109-69, delegating power to Otero County Planning Commission to approve summary review subdivisions. Item 8, request approval of resolution number 07-08-21/109-70, an agreement between the New Mexico Department of Transportation, local government, and Otero County for the road fund program for fiscal year 2021-2022. Cooperative agreement control number L200527 in the amount of $138,332. Item number 9, request approval of resolution number 07-08-21/109-71, an agreement between New Mexico Department of Transportation, local government road fund program, and Otero County for the fiscal year of 2021-2022. Paving and rehabilitation improvements in the amount of $344,622.67. Item number 10, request approval of resolution number 07-08-21/109-72 to auction obsolete vehicles online with government deals. Item number 11, request approval to purchase 10 acres on Apple Road for the purpose of the low water crossing in the amount of $27,054. Item number 12, request approval of an agreement between the State of New Mexico Department of Finance and Administration, Local Government Division, and Otero County for the Emergency Operations Center in the amount of $100,000. Request approval of memorandum of agreement between Donna Ana and Otero County for the EMS. Item number 14, request approval of a contract between Otero County and South Central Mountain RC&D for coordinating national resource related services meeting Title III requirements. Under the Firewise Community Program in Otero County, such as implementation of mitigation projects by planning, assessing, and prioritizing hazardous fuel reduction. Item number 15, request approval of a $1 stipend for individual performing accounts payable duties effective July 12th until the position is permanently filled. At this time, I'll make a motion for the approval of all the consent agenda items. Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, at this time, it's gonna take us to the scheduled citizen communication. Item 16, James Wimberly with the Ellen Acres Service Corporation would like to discuss the abandoned mobile homes in Elaine Acres subdivisions.
Good morning. I'm
morning.
James Wimberly, manager of Eileen Acres. We're a publicly regulated utility serving Eileen Acres, Shady Grove RV Park, and Running Indian Estates. Got some photographs here and some signed documents from some homeowners. I'll make part of the record. Let's summarize real quick that Eileen Acres Services, most people probably know where we're at. We're on the southeast corner of the highway, Alamo Street, and La Luz Gate Road. Currently, we have 90 residential connections, and we serve the Shady Grove RV Park. The development was started in the early 80s. And, you know, as life cycles of neighborhoods go, units fall under disrepair, they sell, et cetera, et cetera. What we've happened now is specifically we have abandoned mobile homes that there is no county ordinance, in my understanding, for the owners to remove the homes. So basically, as manager of the water company, I've been working with the homeowners and emergency services, and we're able to do some work as far as trash and abandoned vehicles. However, we're not able to do anything about abandoned mobile homes. We're going to look at some pictures here in a second, but basically, I've been working with the county since at the end of 18, and you know, fast forward, and here we are. I'm going to read the letter that, and that's part of the record, that I've got about 25 homeowners that signed. I'll just make this very brief, but I am the owner of Roadrunner Lane, Cottontail, Alamogordo. I paid my real estate taxes for many years, and I'm asking for the help of Otero County to get the owners in Eileen Acres to clean up their properties. Trash on the lots, uncontrolled weeds, abandoned vehicles, abandoned mobile homes are a health and safety issue, as well as detracting from the ownership of my property. I'm requesting Otero County take a tougher stance on these cleanup issues. So again, that's part of the record. At this point, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and fire up some photos of some of these. Particularly, there's 4 units that are abandoned, and I just want to show you some pictures of those. So if we could blow up, starting with 21 No Gal. Okay, 21 No Gal. Disrepair. There are 4 units that I'm discussing today, and 3 of them are owned by one individual. And I've made numerous attempts to, and I've contacted the individual, but they don't seem to want to do anything about it. One thing is, I believe that they are paying the real estate taxes, so they do have an active interest in their properties. However, they have no active interest in cleaning them up. If these were going to go to a tax lien sale, I'm sure there was plenty of people, and I've experienced that in the past, that would come out and bid, come in. This unit here, and we'll see a couple other ones, these aren't these can't be rehabbed. I mean, they've gone. And you can only imagine the health and safety issues on this. So let's just scroll through a couple more pictures. We've got 21 No Gal. This is 21 White Oaks. Again, same owner. One more picture, please. This is 21 White Oaks from the basically the south side of 21 White Oaks taken from the neighbor's property. What you're seeing there is a screen that the neighbor erected because these lots are 60 feet wide, folks. Trailers 10, 12 feet wide. We're 30, 40 feet away from your front door. We're not on 5 acres here. So that's what this guy sees, okay? So we're gonna keep moving on, another picture. This one's 25 Roadrunner. This picture was taken a couple weeks ago, and it's continued to go downhill. This particular is a third owner. This individual I've contacted. He lives in Albuquerque. Again, not getting back with me on his intentions. Next picture, please. Same property. This is a view from the homeowner's deck. Miss Chavez lives here. She gets to open her door and look at this every day. And you can see the fence boundary right there. You can see basically we're seeing her deck right there. So open the door, good morning, 23 Roadrunner, or excuse me, 25 Roadrunner. Next picture, please. Okay, again, this is 25 White Oaks. We saw 21 White Oaks and we saw 25 White Oaks. So individual is sandwiched between these two properties. Next picture, please. This picture is looking east from Cottontail and White Oaks. This is about a 4-acre fire that occurred 3 months ago, or 2 or 3 months ago. We believe, I'm not sure on the investigation, but believe some kids were out playing in the desert with some matches, and there's a fire. And let's show the next picture. So basically, there's a unit right there that you see, and that's basically right by them. Then to our left in the picture, there's units right there. So the fire was close. And if we could back up again a few photos, a couple more, please. Okay, right there. So kids playing with matches, that would probably go up pretty quick. So it's a serious issue, guys. Basically, so I'm here to just support a county ordinance on abandoned mobile homes. And there are ordinances that help with the trash and abandoned vehicles, and we're working on those, and there are active cases on those. Again, I started this process back in 18, then, you know, here we are. I mean, I tried to go the route, contacting the homeowners, seeing what their intentions, what their units were, if they want to sell them, what are they going to do, and again, no response. So here we are today. I'm asking for the county's help. And basically, I think there's a couple homeowners here that may want to make some comments. Or
Yes, sir. Feel free.
Hi, my name's Mr. Rivera. I'm new to the county, but anyhow, that one where he showed the string, I had to chase out kids, there's cats in there, we're getting lots of stuff. I'm in between both of them, and I called a lady time and time over for about the last 6 years. She wanted to sell, she didn't want to sell. I said, I had a cash register, that's where I put that up, and that was my house.
Yes, sir.
And I didn't do my house, make it look nice, and the windows were all broken, it was just really bad, so I don't want to look at that no more, so I covered it, and I paid for it, you know, and I want to buy it, you know, both sides, because it's just terrible to me. We got kids next door, I got to chase them out on this side here, and there's graffiti out there inside, there's alcohol in there, and if it goes up a flame, you don't want, my house is going to burn. Something can be done, or I'll pay for it. I don't care, I just want to get it clean. It's just an eyesore, both sides. I live in the middle. I keep it clean. I keep the other side. I do all the brushes. I trim the tree on the other side because it's wild, and I don't live that way. I keep it clean and stuff like that. It's just a really bad eyesore both sides. I'm in the middle.
Sure.
And I want to buy both of them to clean up and everything. It's going to cost me about $10 grand. But I offer the lady the money, but she wants way more than the property's worth.
Yeah.
She's been really stubborn for the last 6 years. I keep calling and calling. I'm interested in buying both of them. They can clean them up.
Well, we have standing behind you, the whole force is standing here watching and listening to this. Bill, would you like to make a comment on what is our procedure, or what we can do to address this?
So, the Farmer Code Enforcement Supervisor, so we can handle the solid waste with the ordinances that we have on the books now. And we do have, like Ms. Wimberly mentioned, we have several open cases in that trailer park specifically. Trying to get, solid waste picked up, all the trash picked up, abandoned vehicles, that we try to clean up apart. However, there's nothing on the books for the dilapidated structure. We have drafted an ordinance that is actually waiting on review from legal before we proceed with it for dilapidated buildings, for situations such as this that create public nuisance.
So can the county condemn these properties and then give the owner a registered letter whether either they clean it up in X amount of days or we clean it up and send them a bill for it? Is that a possibility, Michael?
I believe so. I mean, the city does that with properties. They'll clean it up and put it on the tax bill. Yeah, and we have the same. There's a statute that gives us basically the same powers the city has. So we could do that.
Chairman?
Well, it's absolutely a slippery slope whenever it comes to private property, rights and I lean very far on that side, but in situations like this where you have very small lots and you have people that are right up against each other, it's extremely unfair to adjoining property owners. I would imagine, I bet, that probably most of the people that bought these places like this probably got a rock bottom deal on them and probably never even have, just assuming, very well could be never even have any desire to move out here and just looking for a way to flip them and make $1 on them later down the line. That's why the lady had it priced so high, I'm sure. But, it's one thing to have a property that's, maybe like mine, a little bit run down, but it's another thing to have a property that's totally abandoned like this and just left out, wrecked out. And if we could, I don't see why we couldn't have some kind of an ordinance, maybe, or a policy in place for abandoned. It's one thing if there's somebody that's just in poverty living in a place like this, then they need to, but if they're just abandoned, then maybe we could have some kind of an ordinance in place where if so many months that they're abandoned, then we could make the county, would give the county grounds, legal grounds, to come in and remove it because.
Chairman, I heard from the county clerk's office on this, and she told me that mobile homes, no matter how dilapidated, can't be removed until the taxes are paid and tax certificates are issued by the county treasurer's office. So we do have that to deal with.
But if we put something in place as far as a seizure, maybe it needs to go deeper than just the maybe it needs to go deeper than just the structure itself, and it needs to fall under the grounds of seizing the whole property. If we seize the property of this lot, then it can be sold and we can recoup all of the money that it would cost to clean it up and pay the property taxes and everything else, if there's legal grounds to be able to do that.
Have you reached out? Have you gotten an attorney's view on this to sprinkle a little on delay on some of these owners?
No, there's not funding in the water company to hire an attorney for this. I'm doing it in-house. I'm the manager. I have a duty to the users, and I'm going about it that way.
Yeah, because it's in your covenants, that this kind of stuff isn't allowed.
Well, covenants are one thing, it's because there is no HOA, homeowners association, so covenants are one thing, but how do we enforce them? I can write letters all day, and I've done that. If there was an HOA, we would have some teeth in the HOA to go after these guys. However, we're in the county and we don't. Yeah. So that's the issue that I'm dealing with. And regarding real estate taxes, my understanding is this particular unit's owned by a guy in Albuquerque, probably an investor. I think he picked it up at a tax lien sale, and he's just hanging out, and he's probably, has he seen the property or not? Each property has its own story, and the story's not the issue, it's the condition of the units
Sure.
and the impact of the neighbors. And regarding some of your comments, Mr. Griffin, I totally understand about people wanting to move to the county and doing what they want. Fine. This impacts the neighborhood. I don't
Absolutely.
see a one-size-fits-all ordinance. Perhaps we can align our ordinances or the ordinance. I'm not the attorney. You guys got an attorney. But, hey, if I want to have this in the middle of my 10-acre site and nobody can see it, and it doesn't, if it goes,
Yeah.
burns and it impacts that's not going to impact my
Yes,
neighbor.
sir.
And
I understand.
I'm not privy to sheriff's reports on activity on some of these units, but I'm sure there's plenty.
Go
Well,
ahead. Yes,
Michael,
sir.
could the county send a letter to these owners and tell them that they need to get this stuff cleaned up?
If there's like junk and trash, but like as Bill said, we don't have anything about the structure itself. So
Pretty much thinking that's junk and trash. I mean, I don't think anybody's gonna live there ever again in the history of ever, I hope.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. I mean,
You know, that's,
let's just say that's not
beyond
just
its
trash.
life.
It's not a livable structure.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's gonna ever live in that thing again.
If it's a health, safety, fire hazard, there's gotta be some way around that to be able to.
I'd have to review, but you know, I'm operating the same thinking Bill had. That, you know, our stuff does not cover structures. There might be something in the state code potentially, so I can look at that. And Commissioner Marquardt said about the taxes. Rachel Black from the Treasurer's Office had contacted me about that same point to make sure, and it's a state law, and we actually have an ordinance on our books that says that as well.
I don't know what the, you know, trailer house compared to house or whatever, but, you know, I mean, that trailer house right there, I could hook onto it with my pickup and drag it out of there, you know. So, I mean, would it be labeled as a structure, you know, or would it be, I mean, I don't know.
If I may.
Yes, absolutely, please.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, Rachel Black, Chief Deputy Treasurer. So I'll give you some background on mobile homes that are dilapidated in Otero County.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, our hands are kind of tied on these because of the state statute. Our office has collected on these mobile homes. I've been here 14 years. Where's this one at?
That is 25 Roadrunner.
25 Roadrunner. Eileen Acres?
Yes.
Okay. This is one that we've actually gone out and served a demand warrant on. State statute says in order for the county to become involved, once the taxes are delinquent, then the county treasurer can go out and seize it by the way of a demand warrant. Okay. Then we have 60 days from the time that we actually seize it to auction it off. Now, some counties have been doing auctions. We haven't had one in, I'm going to say, 3 to 5 years. It's a huge liability, let me tell you. The last one we actually had here was the mobile home park on Indian Wells, right behind the Allsops. Y'all remember that one? And let me tell you, that was just fun. So what, according to the law, what we have to be able to do is we have to be able to go out and identify that this mobile home is actually the delinquent mobile home that is on the tax roll. So what we have to do is we have to verify the VIN number. We have to find a VIN number. The VIN number has to match what is on the tax roll. 9 times out of 10 mobile homes like this, we have a very difficult time matching the VIN number. And on this one, it looks familiar. I think we might have actually been out there and actually done this on this mobile home. So there is nothing, as far as the county is concerned, in order to get rid of it other than going out, serving a demand warrant, and holding an auction. The last time we actually had an auction, we had some of these mobile homes listed, and no one showed up to the auction. There is a conflict, Michael is aware of, with state statute says this is how it works. Now we have Regulation and Licensing Bureau, where the Manufactured Housing Division is housed. And on our last auction, Michael and I worked very close on, we actually heard from them that we were not allowed to sell a mobile home that was in this condition because it could cause harm to someone. So unfortunately, we're kind of stuck with these mobile homes all over the county. You own the property?
No, I manage a water company. There's a clarification issue that maybe you can help me with too, because I believe this mobile home, the structure itself is owned by one individual and the lot is owned by another.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so who's gonna buy that mobile home if they can't buy the lot? That's not gonna happen. Now, we got two issues here that I believe that the real estate taxes for the land are current. However, the real estate taxes are probably delinquent on the mobile itself. So we got two issues here.
Two issues, two owners.
Correct.
But you know, on the, we keep calling it a mobile home, but, you know, it may look like a mobile
Mobile homes
home
are
on the
considered-
outside, but it's not a livable structure. I mean, I think that maybe that's where maybe the county could take a stand. I mean, if a structure looks like this, and it's not a livable trailer, it's not, nobody can live in that, and if we had something in place to determine what's a livable structure and what's not a livable structure,
You would have
then
to
maybe we
change the
could,
law.
huh?
You would have to change
Maybe
the
we need
law.
to talk to a state rep and see if we
Maybe,
can't get something on the
maybe,
books.
yes.
Well,
So state statute says that a mobile home is considered personal property, and it's just like, it's a titled vehicle, just like your car. Okay? So the only protection, I mean, I guess you could live in your car. So that is, and it's the way that the state statute is written, is because it is considered personal property, so it's taxed as personal property, just like your cows and your horses. And the county treasurer is responsible to collect those as well. We have airport hangars. Those are considered personal property. You don't own the land, but you own the structure that's on it. So that's taxed as personal property.
Yeah.
So in order to, yeah, the law would have to change as far as state statute.
Well, I say, I mean, you know, I know from a government's perspective that if that trailer's making the government a few $100s a year, then the government probably sees it as an asset and just says, no, let's keep it all the same. I mean, just generally speaking about, you know, but whenever it comes down to property owners that have to live next to those places where there's probably transits and drug addicts and everything, everybody that gets kicked out of the house and the trailer park probably goes down there and sleeps. And it's not fair to those adjoining. So whatever we need to do, I mean, if we need to task our state rep with writing some new laws, or giving us an angle on where we can act, or if we can legally take a stand as a county and just say, no, that might be state statute, but this is our county ordinance inside of our county, then I think that maybe we could possibly go that route. Whatever the case may be, this needs to stop and these places need to be cleaned up, and they're all over.
They are, I agree. And to be honest, I don't know, sorry, I heard you guys talking, so I ran over as quick as I could. So I could look to see what the tax liability is on this. As far as the property owner that owns the property can actually file a quiet title suit through district court and gain ownership to this mobile home, whoever the landowner is.
Right.
Now, do they want to be saddled with having to pay to have this removed? Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not, because, I mean, that's $2,000 that is going down the road to have it removed. So mobile homes are, and I will tell you all from the county treasurer's perspective, there's 33 of us, and we talk about delinquent mobile homes and at every meeting we do. So unfortunately, there's nothing, our hands are tied. As far as the county, I mean, our hands are tied.
Would there be a way that the county could take, like, more of a civil action as far as like a lawsuit against people who just abandon properties like this? And I mean,
that would be a legal question that I'm sure Michael could probably research and get back to you on. I honestly, I don't know. I don't want to speculate on that.
I mean, I don't know.
Yes.
However we can find leverage, we need to try to find it.
It's got to be a common sense way, and I understand you're governed by the statutes on that, but, you know, the big picture is here, you know, this is bad.
I agree.
So Rachel, the last time you tried to have an auction and you didn't auction any of the mobile homes, they just remained sitting where they were sitting
Right.
still to this day probably.
Exactly. So we don't actually physically seize them. Does that? We don't
Right.
go out and move them.
Yeah.
We place a demand warrant on it. We actually, excuse me, our office goes through elaborate attempts of trying to locate these people that own these things. We send letters. We actually, we have a lien on this right now. So once we place a lien at the Department of Motor Vehicle, and it's kind of funny because we send them a letter every 2 or 3 weeks. Can you get in here and pay this? You need to pay this. You need to pay this. You need to pay this. And once we place a lien on it through the Department of Motor Vehicle, then the Department of Motor Vehicle automatically, their system generates a letter and says, you now have a lien on this. You have to get in and take care of this. And 9 times out of 10, the majority of people, once that happens, you know, they get letters from us all the time, they don't care. But they get the letter from the state that says, and that happened. And so we are doing better on collecting on those, but the problem is there are people that leave these. The owner's probably dead, or
Well, this particular unit is owned, my research says, by Mr. Munoz in Albuquerque, and I believe the taxes are current on it. And I've been unsuccessful to get any feedback from him.
Now, I don't know as far as whether the county, I don't know. That would be something that Michael and I don't know. Can you put a lien on the property because this dilapidated mobile home is there? I don't know legally. So then once a lien is filed on the property, then the property owner is going to go, oh, well, this isn't mine, and what do I do? Well, this is, I mean, and that's the problem too, is this, Mr. Munoz has this lot. Does he know who
I have no contact. I have not had
this
any
lot to someone?
That's not navigable. That's not rented.
I mean originally when it was set there.
I do not know the history of that.
Okay. So that's an interesting thing. And so when we had that auction on that mobile home park, we sold the entire mobile home park. And that went to, basically it went to dealers. Because there's also in the mobile home rules and regs that say you must sell to a dealer. You can't sell to a individual. Well, state statute says you have to have a public auction. So the rules and regs are conflicting with statute.
Shocking.
So that is an issue in itself. And Michael and I, we went back and forth with manufactured housing division.
Yeah, we spoke to the general counsel that they were trying to say that because the treasurer's office wasn't a licensed dealer, they couldn't have the auction. Notwithstanding the fact their own regs say that government officials doing their job, collecting taxes, you don't need to have it. And the regulation is there to make sure unscrupulous people aren't trying to sell stuff, but anybody buying stuff at a tax auction knows you're getting something that who knows. You know, no one is going to buy a mobile home at a tax auction thinking they're going to get some pristine place. And so they wasn't it the only person that showed up was the inspector from
manufactured housing.
that was prepared to write us a citation or something or try to shut down the auction. But since there were no bidders, we didn't have to cross that bridge at that time.
Well, with the state statutes conflicting, as you just said that they just did, you know, that should give us standing from the county's perspective to be able to go ahead and say, look, what you guys have put together is conflicting, it doesn't work, therefore we are going to have to act on the county side, and it should give us standing moving forward. And then, I mean, you know, you look at the expense, well, who's going to pay to move that trailer? Well, if there's one good place for our tax dollars to go, I would say it should go right there. I mean, if the more we clean our community up, the more appealing we're going to make it, the more prosperous we're going to be. And, you know, so, I mean.
I hear what you're saying, Commissioner Griffin. Let me get also to the big picture, I believe, and maybe it's just me. I'm a taxpayer of this county.
Yep.
Now, yes, I think that's a terrible thing, and I wouldn't want to
Yeah.
live next door to it.
Yeah.
But the legal thing, which Michael, I don't know, can the county go in and seize it? Okay. So the county goes in and seizes it. Then what happens to it? Where's it going?
We'll go.
How much money is it costing the taxpayers of Otero County to take care of this problem?
Well,
So it's a double-edged sword in my opinion. Because I know, we all want our community to look nice.
Sure.
And we all want people to stand up and take care of their stuff.
Sure.
But I as a taxpayer, would have a real hard time that my taxes are gonna go up, or we're gonna have to cut some other department's budget.
Yeah.
Because we're taking this on.
Yeah, but
That's my
whenever
concern.
they're abandoned though, whenever they're like this, if the water and the power's not turned on in it and nobody's living there and it looks like this, I think it's a pretty easy call. And then, the expense of getting that trailer out of there, I don't think it would be, I don't know. And I know there's lots of them, and I know maybe it would create a business for somebody removing old trailers in the community too, It'd create work, it'd create a job, I don't know. There's always two ways to look at everything.
Well,
But one thing's for sure is we need to address it.
Yeah, definitely, and we can, and I understand the legal standpoint, but what are we gonna wait for? We're gonna wait for whoever started that fire to play over here?
Yeah.
Then we're gonna lose,
Yeah.
you're gonna lose a lot of taxpayers. And these aren't second homes for people. This is affordable housing in Otero County. Let's think about the housing market, let's talk about affordability, let's talk about entry level and who you're living next to. That's what I'm seeing.
So I got one question for Michael on a legal deal. You have this house right here, gentleman lives next door beside it. If we send them a legal letter from the county saying you have a health, safety, fire hazard on it, even though maybe he doesn't own the mobile home, but he owns the property, if that catches fire and burns the neighbor down, he will be held responsible. Is that a legal option, that tax that you can take to it and make the property owners step up and do something about it if they're going to be in a legal?
I don't know that we have the authority to hold the ground owner liable like that. I don't know that we have that ability. My initial thought would be no, but this is just off the top of my head without doing any research on the point.
But if I own the land and I've been informed by the county that what is on my land is a liability to others living around, then why wouldn't you? If you've been warned,
I'm gonna throw in there the person, it goes back to the property owner's rights. Just because you paint your shed blue,
yeah,
and the neighbor says, I don't
Yeah.
like it, and
Yeah.
the roof falls in on
Yeah.
it, and it's gonna catch on fire, and your neighbor doesn't like it,
the color of the structure is one thing, but if it affects me on my property, that's apples and oranges,
There is-
Rachel, with something painted blue because I don't like the color blue. But if it's got drug addicts that are coming out of it high on meth and coming and breaking into and they've been warned, and you have, if it's directly affecting me, then that's different than me just not liking the look of what it looks like.
we actually have a property west of town that has had 3 fires, 3 or 4. Three individuals have died in mobile homes. There's nothing. The people that
Well,
own,
if they've
the people that own the house next door, beautiful home.
Yeah.
Firemen show up and get on their side of the fence to put out the fire on this lot with these mobile homes that are. So it's,
Well, if there's 3 fires and they're starting them and then that should be addressed. We can address that from a legal standpoint, But I don't know, I think that private property rights kind of hit the divide whenever it starts affecting other property owners.
Health and
If
safety,
it's your
understand.
property and you want to do what you want with your property, as long as you're not bothering anybody else, fine. But whenever your mess starts falling off on other people's properties, like this gentleman who's trying to keep his place nice, you know, and who doesn't want to live I just, however we can help.
And I know if you guys will look back when Commissioner Janet White had some issues with some mobile homes back then, and I don't know, was there a resolution or a...
I don't remember that. I think that was before I got here.
Pam, do you remember when Janet was a commissioner and there was a conversation about mobile homes?
Yeah,
Was there a
I believe there was
resolution
even
or-
a draft ordinance, and it didn't pass. I can't recall why.
Okay. There
Maybe
has
we need to
been.
look at it again.
Yes, there has been, and I don't remember what it was.
I don't either. It's been many
It's been a
years.
couple
Again,
years.
if that property owner if he has been legally served papers telling him he will be held responsible, if this catches fire and burns that other gentleman's mobile home down, or his home, that because he has been warned, because this is a health, safety, and fire hazard. I mean, I understand that your system right there is totally worthless. He's gotta have legal notice that he has been told that it is a health, safety, fire hazard, and he is responsible for it.
I agree. I will tell you that from our office's standpoint, 9 times out of 10, we don't have an updated address for this person that owns this. So I don't know legally if you send out a letter and it's not received,
Where it's going.
where do you stand on that? I don't know. There are a lot of these old mobile homes that the address that we have on the tax roll where we get the bill back every year. We write them 15 letters, we get every letter back. So our office actually goes through and we've actually gone to the point of trying to find relatives of people. Hey, is this your relative, and do you have an interest in this?
Well, he just said
So-
this particular property, the taxes are up to date on it, so there is a person
Right,
somewhere
right.
for this one.
For this one, yes. Yes, so I don't know, that would be another legal thing that I don't know if you send it out and if they don't receive it, then I don't know.
Well, on vehicles, abandoned vehicles, it's the same way. You send a letter to the last registered owner, and if it comes back and it's not received, then you have to post it for 60 days or whatever, public posting, and then it reverts back to whoever puts claim in on the vehicles. Anyways, vaguely know that, but you'd think there'd be something else. You'd think there'd be something similar in place. There's got to be processes or procedures for abandoned mobile homes, yeah.
Well, I will tell you this, the treasurer's affiliate, I believe we're having a meeting next week or within the next several weeks. So I will make sure that is a topic of conversation that we
Definitely.
have and
Because
see
we'd
if-
love to get this crap cleaned up.
Definitely.
I mean, it's all over the place.
Yeah,
and
it's just,
ridiculous.
you know better than anybody. It ain't just here. It's everywhere,
It's
all
everywhere.
over the county.
And mobile homes are, I've argued that fact for a long time, that the way that the tax system is set up on mobile homes is not an ideal situation, because we end up with things like this.
Well, Rachel, that mobile home is a license, just like a vehicle.
Yes.
David, if there's an abandoned vehicle, can it be towed away?
I do not know that.
He said, yeah.
I am not familiar with that.
If it's on private property,
Mhm.
the property owner has the right to have it towed. And it would be, the fee for the tow would revert back to the vehicle owner. And we've seen it time and time, like with Amy or John Paulson. They tow a vehicle, they can get over the property owner, they file for fuel forfeiture on the vehicle. Again, it's processed, where they can file like mechanics lien, and they can take the ownership of that vehicle and sell it. But again, there's a process.
And you think that, I bet you that, with it being licensed and with it being mobile, it might kind of fall more on the bounds of a vehicle, I mean, if it was an RV, you could tow it. Where this is on wheels. Can be
That's
again,
personal,
real quick.
I still got the tongue on it there.
So, yes, I will bring that up in our meeting, and I don't know. I'm gonna tell you all that this has been an ongoing issue. I've been here 14 years. It's been an ongoing issue. It doesn't get any better every year.
Yeah.
Well, we want it to get better.
Yeah, and I think, you have 3 commissioners right here that will, I think that we would all be in agreement that we want to get these cleaned up, and I'd be willing to make the investment from a county's perspective to help with whatever that consists of. But yeah, if we have to stay inside state statute and operate inside the state, then let's get things changed on the state side. If we can do it from the county's platform through an ordinance or whatever, let's do it on the county. But let's not forget about these messes, and let's work on them because they're priority.
I agree. So, yes, and I will bring that up, and I will get back to you guys for more
Perfect.
information I obtain.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thanks, Rachel.
I guess I'm wrapping up my presentation. You guys have any questions for me?
No, I'm gonna ask Michael, well, Michael's short term here, so if you can leave in your notes what we're talking about, if we can, like what I said, if we can send a letter from the county saying this is a health safety fire hazard. If it catches a fire or does whatever, that you could be held responsible because you haven't taken care of it. So whoever is following you up, we need to research that and see if we can, if there's something that we can do.
Yeah, I've been working on
the
a.
first step thing that we have to notify.
I've been
And
working.
not only that, but also if there are people that are living in that property that without their knowledge of who they are, then they're going to be responsible for their actions too. Because, these are prime for drug addicts and no telling what to be living inside of, and the property owners around them shouldn't have to, people should be responsible. That's all it boils down to, responsible for their own properties and how they affect other property owners.
Thank you for you guys' time, and I just,
Thank you, James.
I just think we're going to do the right thing, and Mr. Matherly with a short-term solution. I think that's going to be the way to go. This issue's not going away. We need more affordable housing in Otero County. You wouldn't want to live next to this. Nobody does. I trust that the county's going to do the right thing. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, that's going to take us to item number 17. Gary Scarborough, Chairman of the Public Land Use Advisory Council, would like to present a letter of support for resolution number 05-13-21/109-57, opposing the federal government's 30 by 30 land preservation goal.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Gary could not make it today.
I didn't think you looked like Gary.
Quite a difference here. But I am Secretary for the Public Land Use Advisory Council, and he asked me to come and present this letter to you, asked me to read it. This letter followed our last meeting where we had great concern and discussion regarding this 30 by 30 land grab. Dated June 25th, 2021, regarding the federal government's land use project titled 30 by 30 and the Otero County Board of County Commissioners resolution number 05-1321-109-57. Dear Commissioners, during the June 23rd, 2021 meeting of the Public Land Use Advisory Council, we discussed President Biden's Executive Order 14008, Tackling the Climate Crisis at Home and Abroad, 86 Federal Regulation 7619, better known as the 30 by 30 land grab. It was noted that the Otero County Board of County Commissioners had passed a resolution expressing concern about this new land use scheme. PLUAC is unanimous in supporting this BOCC resolution, and we thank the BOCC for their efforts, really do. PLUAC further recommends that the resolution number 05-1321-109-57 not be the end of the county's preparation to protect the county. Implementation of a 30 by 30 style federal program would severely impact Otero County. For example, the tax base would be negatively impacted. We urge the commissioners to review existing county ordinances to see if any of them would apply to this proposal by President Biden. Possibly one or more of the current ordinances are relevant or could be amended to apply in this particular situation in order to provide for the safety, preserve the health, promote the prosperity, and improve the morals, order, comfort, and convenience of any county or its inhabitants. If there are no applicable ordinances, PLUAC members encourage the Commission to proactively limit negative impacts to the county and its residents through new county ordinances. Any new ordinance must also address and protect private property rights. We recommend that this ordinance review be started immediately rather than wait until the federal program has begun. PLUAC would remind the commissioners that we are a resource, thus the planned public land use in PLUAC, for the county and a natural fit to be involved in any solutions. We are, after all, commissioned to support private property rights as well as the county's best interest in federal land use. We want to help. Thank you. Sincerely, signed, Gary Scarborough, Public Land Use Advisory Council Chairman.
Well, thank you for that. I mean, my feelings on it is that federal government already has too much land, and they don't take care of it. And we've got a national forest sitting up here that's ready to burn down because they don't let anybody thin it. So I think the last thing they need is any more of our private land. So I will definitely stand behind any ordinance or anything we can do to help protect our personal property land in Otero County.
Our concern regarding the ordinance is that it is more enforceable than just a resolution.
Yeah, resolutions don't do anything.
Right, so that's why we're encouraging an ordinance be drafted if one is not already there, because it is important to protect the people of Otero County, and the federal government, they're supposed to be managing the land that they already have, and well,
so
that's their mandate.
Exactly.
So one thing I asked our attorney on these ordinances what would apply for it. So he has sent me a number of ordinances that the county has, and I asked him this morning if he would forward those to the other two commissioners, and we could possibly forward it to the public land board, land use, and let them review it too for if there's anything that we can, you know, change or add to or anything like that. So if you could forward them to the other two commissioners.
I got them. Yeah.
Okay, great. I'll send it to the other commissioners, and I assume Sylvia has a roster for the PLUAC. I don't think I have that. So,
but there is a large group of ordinances and stuff like this, so processes that the federal government or whoever have to go through to come in and do what they want to do. So you'll get a copy of it, and then you can read them and review them, and then we'll all read them and review them, and to see if there's anything we need to add to it or change. If you have any recommendations, feel free to bring them up to us and see what we can do.
Well, we certainly appreciate that, because our goal is to protect everybody in Otero County, and so I appreciate that. We certainly want to work with you in any way that we can.
Our saving grace might be too that only 10% of Otero County is privately owned right now. The federal and state already own the rest of it, so I don't know how much more they can take.
Well, they've been pretty good in the past at taking it.
I know.
And we're afraid of them.
Yeah.
I tell you what, yeah, you ought to tell them that they need to start paying the going property tax rates, and we'll consider agreeing that they're more of their land grab, because they pay such a tiny fraction in PILT money.
Yes.
That they, right now, you know, so, yeah.
And that's important to note, that they do have so little. And also, I went to the Chavez County Commission meeting, and on their comprehensive plan, written in that is that they restrict public land to, or federal land, to not have any increase in there. If federal takes some land, then private land must be also given back to the county to maintain that property tax base. And so therefore, I found that very interesting to know when I went to that meeting.
And the two big proponents of this were Deb Haaland and Kamala Harris.
Yes,
They're
they
the two
already
that pushed this.
They already had it in place before.
It's been in the works for a while.
Yes, it has been. Okay. Well, we certainly appreciate your support and working with the ordinances to make sure that Otero County stands firm on this.
Well, thank you for the work that your group does.
We certainly
Thank you.
appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
ma'am.
All right, that's going to bring us to the item 18, unscheduled citizen communication. Remember, this is a time limit of 3 minutes. I'll start with one. I had a constituent forward me an email and asked me to read it because they were not going to be able to be here. It says, because of the county's refusal to make meetings safe for all citizens to attend, I asked the commissioners to make accommodations for those like me. Those of us who, due to health issues, cannot attend these unsafe meetings. Since the commissioners don't seem to stay current on the latest news and recommendations, please see this article. There's a strong case for fully vaccinated people to wear a mask again. MSN.com. This is something I have been saying for many months now. All one has to do is follow logic and science to see the truth. This isn't political, it's science and destiny. Citizens should be able to attend by telephone or by Zoom to address the commission. They should be able to ask questions in real time, just as if they were physically able to attend these meetings. I'm about to undergo treatment for my COPD that involves suppressing my immune system. This puts me in even greater risk for COVID. I shouldn't have to choose between my health and exercising my right to address my local government just because they refuse to adhere by the safety precautions. If the commission refuses to make the meetings safe for all individuals in the county, regardless of their health or disability, to attend physically, they should at least make it accessible to attend virtually. Sincerely, Rachel Morris.
Is she the one that goes by is that Wacky Racky?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So is there any other signed up, Sylvia?
You had the one for Miss Miller, I believe is her name. Kathy Miller. This is the one that I gave you guys a copy.
Thank you.
Love your shirt.
Thank you, Samuel. My name is
Yours
Kathy
too.
Miller, and this is Samuel Gonzalez. He's going to sit with me today. First of all, thank you for the opportunity that I could be here today and speak, and hopefully I'll come back. My name is Kathy Miller, and I'm a native of New Mexico, and I've lived in Otero County almost all my life. I love New Mexico, and I love Otero County. And I'm here to talk to you today with regards to election security. Okay? I'm a concerned citizen who believes in our election system. However, I also think there is a warranted concern about the security of our elections. Is there a chance that the voting machines used in our county could be vulnerable? Since there is a potential of vulnerability, should we cast and count our votes differently? Okay? Consider this. We heard from the road department. They closed Highway 82 because of a chance of a rock slide. Okay? We order recalls on vehicles because of a chance of brake failure or early airbag deployment. In news this week, Tyson Chicken is recalling thousands of pounds of chicken because of possible contamination. Okay? America works hard. Our government works hard to protect our citizens from potential dangers. As a teacher at Cloudcroft Middle School, our superintendent would call for preemptive school closings when the roads were icy and covered with snow. The right to vote is a precious American right. Many have lost faith in our voting system and ask, was my vote cast the way I intended it? In fact, according to a Gallup poll done in February 13, 2020, 59% of American voters report that they don't have confidence in the honesty of our elections. If you want your citizens, commissioners, to trust our elections, please do everything you can to make sure our elections are secure. go above and beyond to encourage everyone to vote and work to develop preemptive measures to protect this precious right, even with the slightest chance of voter vulnerability. I suggest we lead our state in hand-counting ballots. I mean, it's going to be harder in Albuquerque, but it's doable in Otero County for sure. As a critical thinker, there might not be proof of fraud with the Dominion voting systems, but there is evidence of potential vulnerability. For example, on December 14th, 2020, a Michigan judge, and Katie, you're going to pass out some of that, a Michigan judge released an audit showing that 68% error rates with the Dominion voting system. You know, that kind of, you think, well, it's about a little more than half, but get this. The Federal Election Commission allows 1 in 250,000 error rates, or 0.0008% error. We are way over that. The official purpose and conclusion of the lawsuit states, and I quote, "We conclude that the Dominion voting system is intentionally and purposefully designed with inherent errors to create systematic fraud and influence election results. The system intentionally generates an enormously high number of ballot errors. The electronic ballots are then transferred for adjudication or review. The intentional errors lead to bulk adjudication of ballots with no oversight, no transparency, and no audit trail. This leads to voter election fraud. Based on this study, we conclude that the Dominion voting system should not be used in Michigan." And this is a case on the books that happened, okay?
Yes,
Please
ma'am.
let me, my time?
Yes, your time.
Okay, I've given you guys an interview between Matthew Perino and Cheryl Atkinson, a reporter, just for you to review, but it is stark evidence that there could be vulnerability in the voting system.
Would you do something for me?
You bet.
Would you get on the agenda for the next
Yes, I
commission
would.
meeting where we can allow you to have?
I would have to, and this
more-
young man has some things to say too.
Absolutely, absolutely, I hope so. But, you know, in regard, that's been something that I've been dedicated to as well, the voter integrity. And I've had personal conversations with both Sidney Powell and Lynn Wood and others that are really in the legal fight. And you can bet your boots that whenever you ask them, what's the key to having secure elections, they're going to say 2 words: paper ballots. Paper ballots,
Keep it simple.
paper ballots. And I think that that's something that we could do on a county level. I think that my fellow commissioners are just as concerned about voter integrity as I am. And
Thank you.
and please come back.
I will.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That was the only one?
That was the only one I had, yes.
Okay, if we could take just a quick pause before we go into the new business. Anybody have a problem with that?
No.
I don't. Everybody back that needs to be back? Okay, this will carry us on to new business. Item 19, request approval of resolution number 07-08-21/110-01, fiscal year 2021 to 2022. Final budget adoption, 110th fiscal year. Is there any discussion on this? Does anybody have any discussion besides?
Is this where we would need to bring up the
Yes.
chamber and stuff?
Commissioners, there are two additional items that I would like to bring to your attention for our final budget. Our final budget for fiscal year 2022 does need to be submitted by July 31st, which is why we have it on this meeting here. The two additional items are community services funding for the Alamogordo Chamber of Commerce and the Otero County Economic Development Council. I did give you a sheet like this that shows what was approved on the interim budget and then what could potentially be approved for the final budget for this. So Otero County Economic Development Council is requesting $25,000 in funding. The Alamogordo Chamber of Commerce did not specifically request a dollar amount. They are leaving that up to the discretion of the commission. So there does need to be some discussion there. And just before you discuss that, the other item that I had to bring forward to you was the addition of ammunition sales revenue and expense lines for the Sidney Paul Gordon shooting range, but that is going to be a separate agenda item. So really the only thing you need to consider for the final budget for this agenda item is the community services.
So do we need to do the other items before we do?
Possibly, if you're going to be approving the budget, yeah, you possibly do. You probably would need to, I mean, honestly, yeah, that would
We
probably
can
make
just
sense.
bump it up.
That would
Just bump
probably
it
make
up, yeah.
sense to do the ammunition first.
Let's put item 19 on hold for a minute and jump to item 23. Item 23 is request approval of budget increase for the Sidney Paul Gordon shooting range in the amount of $40,000 for the purchase of ammunition. Morris, would you like to elaborate on this a little
Yes,
bit?
I would. Like a contestant at Shark Tank. Here's just a quick little review.
Thank you, Mark.
Hi, Mark Douglas, range master over at the shooting range. Okay, so what I'm requesting is $40,000, and that would be for ammunition purchases. This would be an annual item that's added to the budget. I've got some information here. It boils down to about $3,333 a month. That's 40,000 divided by 12. Right now, as you guys know from Trent, we had our lead abatement project. That closed the range down until the 18th of June. We were open on the weekend, so this June 12th, that's 2 days of sales, and then we were closed that following week. Then we were open after June 18th. But from June 12th to July 5th, I was able to sell 73 boxes of 9mm ammo, and then there's the rest of the breakdown of the three other calibers that we have. Total sales was $3,500, about $3,550. So we've had a lot of requests for ammunition. We sell targets, we sell beverages to folks there. So we've had a lot of folks asking for ammo. We all know that there's a shortage out there and a lot of people are not going to the range. Some of the things that we've had issues with is my firearms instructors, the individual or independent instructors. A lot of times they're canceling their classes because their students don't have ammunition to come take the classes. So that hurts the range in fees that aren't collected. Selling ammo is just like selling the targets. This is a commodity item. This is a shooting range. I even have people asking me if we rent guns. I don't want to get into that at this time because I'm not equipped to handle gun rentals. But that's what we're looking at here is using that funds to purchase ammo and to sell them just like I do targets. You're looking at probably 25% return on this investment. So for every dollar you give me, I'm going to give you back about $1.27 right now. Now, is this something that's going to go on forever? No. If Walmart gets back into the business and I can't compete with them, then this would go away. But right now, there is a need for ammunition. And you can see by the numbers here, just the 9mm ammo alone, I sold 3,500 rounds in that time frame there. So that's what I'm looking at to see if we can add this. Julianne mentioned that we do have a line item number that already exists for ammo sales, and I also have a ammo sales line item that we can use so that we can monitor this and see how well this does. One of the reasons that I want to do this is I want to move the facility to a more revenue neutral status. I've heard Commissioner Griffin mention this. Yep. I have heard Commissioner Matherly mention this. And I know Commissioner Marcus, you're on board with this. This is a non-required department. And if this department can pay for more of its expenses, then it helps out to keep it vital. And this is one of the items that's going to help us do that.
This shouldn't really be an expense to the county if we're getting our money back.
You're absolutely correct, Commissioner Martin.
And if I may add with your comment, and I do and have encouraged you to be more, to look for ways to raise revenue. But I would rather you find those areas without competing with other businesses here in town. We don't want to turn the gun range into a business. We just want, I mean, there would be other ways to generate revenue, if I may finish. There'd be other ways to generate revenue without selling ammunition. You mentioned Walmart, about how if Walmart picks back up, then then people can buy ammunition from Walmart. But there's other places in town where you can buy ammunition, like Dave's Guns and such, you know. So when people go out there, if they know they can just buy a box of shells when they get to the range, then chances are they're not going to stop by Dave's Guns and buy that same box of ammunition. And it's like the county is going into competition with other businesses, and I'm not in favor of that.
Okay. And that raises a good point. You know, would we be competing against the local businesses? And the answer is yes. And no. Okay. So we have very low volume when compared to the retail outlets. I don't sell guns. And so if we did sell guns, I think there would be an issue there, because typically when a buyer goes to the gun store and buys guns, they buy ammo there at that time. Okay, and depending on their rapport with those particular shop owners, you know, that they're probably going to keep giving business to those shop owners.
You don't know that. You don't know that probably doesn't.
Okay, what I do know, Commissioner Griffin, is that people who show up and they shoot all their ammo and they want to continue shooting have to then drive back into town, which causes, there's a whole other slew of issues.
Or they buy another box the next time they go to the range.
They could, but they can't. But then they can't shoot when they want to shoot at that time when they're there, and they have to incur other costs. Okay, well, okay, that you're opening up a whole other can of worms.
No, I'm not.
Now the distance, we have a very small selection of calibers there, so we don't have a wide selection. It's just the most common, which is 9mm, as you can see by our sales. We do have the issue of we're quite a ways from town, and we have limited operating hours. So it's not like folks are coming out here to buy ammo from me and stockpile. The majority of these people who are buying it are taking classes from instructors that brings money to the range in the form of fees, or they don't show up. They don't go to the classes. I have a lot of cancellation from our firearms instructors because people back out at the last minute. And it's unfortunate that happens. We also limit, if I may, Commissioner Griffin, we limit the sales. We don't allow people to bulk up like they do at Walmart and Big Fives and buy everything on the shelves. We limit it. And we're already selling items like targets. We sell our brass casings. We sell snacks. We're already competing against people in the community. Okay, so we've already got the precedents set of selling some items that are related to the firing range or to the shooting range. So that would be, yeah, we do compete, okay, but at a very small, low level.
But you know, If you were in the business, if you had a little ammunition store in town and you were selling box of shells, would you, where would your position be then? I mean, you say it's just very little, but that a little means a lot to people that are struggling in small business right now.
Well, there's two ways to look at this. One is I could hate all my competitors and light their buildings on fire, so I'm the only guy in town selling ammo. Or I could use competition and try to be competitive and look for vendors to sell things to me at a lower price and try not to get stuck with a large amount of ammunition at a high price, and that's business.
And that's business,
Okay,
but that's the business community. You're not business. We're a
That's
government-funded shooting range out here that is wanting to go into the business community. And me, as a Republican conservative, I am not in favor of that. I believe that we should support our local. Let me finish.
Go ahead.
I believe we should support our local small businesses like Dave's Guns and other ammunition suppliers here in town without going into business against them.
Okay. I think you're thinking this is going to become a retail outlet,
I'm
and
not.
it's
You're
not.
selling the same product that they can buy at Dave's Guns. So it doesn't mean if it's a little or if it's a lot. It's still competition at the end of the day, and we're going into competition with other small businesses.
And we've been that way for the last 20 years.
How's that? By selling snacks out there?
Selling sodas, selling snacks,
Well, yeah,
selling
sodas
targets.
and snacks are one thing, but selling ammunition is another.
I'm selling ammo. I've also been selling targets. Okay, and you are trying to sell a shooting range. You need to have a certain number of items there to make it beneficial to the shooting community.
And if there wasn't any other avenues to get a box of shells in Alamogordo, I'd say, yeah, I support you, Mark. But like I said, there are businesses in town that sell ammunition. I don't think we should be cutting into small business right now, especially as hard as it is for small business right now.
And like you said, the shooter should be aware and be accountable, but if they don't, and many aren't, I have the means for them to come out, pay the range fee, and have a good time at the shooting range.
Let me add one little thing to this, and this is only worth a penny. The last time I went to go buy ammunition in town, there was none. They did have ammunition because they said if you'll buy a pistol, we'll sell you a box of shells. So I'm like, well, that kind of, but let me finish. I don't know if it's loosened up a little bit, the availability of ammunition is back in town a little bit. I buy 90% of my ammunition online because they won't sell it to me. And that's the only thing that's bad on that. Having ammunition out there, I'm not a big fan of, because now you're gonna have somebody break in that place and start stealing stuff.
And the range is locked up and alarmed. It has a security system.
So what kind of quantity are you being able to lock up?
What I have on hand is about 2,000 rounds of ammunition at any given time. And what I've just purchased here is I've already sold almost a majority of it, but it will require, I would like to get another gun safe just to keep the ammo in, and I have what limited space I have, I think I have room for another gun safe. It'd be nice to get a bigger building, but that's a discussion for down the road.
And in a way, I do agree with Commissioner Griffin on I'm not trying to take away from our gun shops. They are our local, but some of their refusal to sell the public ammunition does irritate you a little bit too. Now, that's all my one.
And they're refusing to sell you ammunition at Carrie's refusing to sell you ammunition at.
They tell me they don't have it.
Or Dave.
Dave
Well,
said-
how does Mark? How do you get it if our guns suppliers can't even get the ammunition? Is that a special government deal that you're getting the ammunition on, or
No.
where do you buy it from?
No, I get it. I have a relationship with the vendor who supplies county and government entities And so since we're such small peanuts, they're able to accommodate our request and able to sell to us. We are a government entity.
So
and
you
they
can
sell
buy
to government.
223s, but Kerry and Dave and them can't buy 223.
Well, I mean, depending on the supply, and I'm only, on 223, I only ordered 1,000 rounds. Okay, and to this particular, let's call them a distributor, that order is peanuts. Okay, they're used to delivering 50,000 rounds to their customers. So we're able to get in kind of under the radar with that particular distributor. But this is a distributor who provides ammunition for government entities, law enforcement facilities, things like that. Now, can I get a lot of ammo? I was told not to even think about holding my breath for 22 ammo. That's what I was told. 38 special ammo? He said, dream on. There's certain calibers that I just can't get, and why? Because of all the hoopla that happened last year.
9mm and 223 are two of the hardest rounds to get.
Maybe for you, but
I've
got 3 cases of 9mm. Why don't you come out to the range and buy some and go shooting? You know.
But and that was, and I visited with Dave personally on this, and he would love to sell you 20 boxes of shells, but he said, I don't know what I can get or when I get.
And so he wants to make sure he's got ammo for 20 customers as opposed to all the ammo to one customer. And that happens. Look, that's been happening at Walmart all the time. You go down there and the guys are waiting for the truck to drop the pallet, and then they just beat each other to death as they haul off all the 22 ammo. And then when we want to go get 22 ammo, we can't. Hell, we're lucky if we find one bullet sitting on the shelf there.
But see, we by doing this, no matter on what scale, well, I think we can all agree that it's going to go into competition against small business. But yet you come in and you want $40,000 of taxpayer money to go into business against the very businesses that this tax dollars belong to. I don't agree with it, Mark.
Okay.
I think it's wrong on every front. And
Well,
Vicki and Gerald, if y'all support it, then you make your own. You make your own.
And you mentioned
decision,
taxpayer
but-
money, so we're looking at investment. The taxpayer gives me $1, I give them back $1.25. I think most of your taxpayers would probably say, can we give you more money? You know. So that's what you're looking at right now, is about 27 cents back on every dollar. Now, is this something that's going to happen forever? Well, it depends on what the market does.
Or how big the government gets and how much we support the government in these kind of ventures. That will determine on how big it gets is the decisions that are made right here
That's
today.
correct. And depending on how much value you give back to the community with your county-owned shooting range. So anyways, that's what we're looking at. It's like $3,300 a month. It's probably not going to be spent all the time. It depends on on how fast the ammunition moves. But this just gives you a quick breakdown. To date, since June 12th, I've got $3,500, 46 bucks that came in from selling ammo. The big winner here is 9mm. Everybody has a 9mm gun, and I have 9mm ammo. And just on the side note, while I was at one of the local Mexican food restaurants that I like to go to, I ran into one of my elderly customers who hasn't come out in a while. Why? He can't get ammo, just like Commissioner Matherly mentioned. When I told him I had the calibers that he needed, he came out the next day. Then somebody else overheard that conversation and asked if I carried a different caliber, which I'm not going to, just because it's not that common of a caliber. But he asked if I had ammunition so that he could come out and shoot that particular firearm. And I wasn't able to assist him, but I helped 1 out of 2, so I was happy with that. So you're looking at, this is just, it's not an expense. It's going to be a money maker to help the range pay for itself, other than jacking up the rates, which will be a discussion down the road.
How are you buying what you have out there now?
Well, I happen to have a donation line, so what I did is I took some money out of my donation funds to see if ammunition would sell. So I bought this ammunition, and the money's going to go back to the donation line item to repay it. But this was done so that I could see if this would work, and it's working.
Kathy?
Well, actually, for the time being, I'm for it because it is hard to get ammunition. I've had issues with that myself. And I think it'd be nice to have another place to be able to get some. Maybe not long-term, not going into this as a business forever, but for right now, I think it's worthy to give it a shot.
Okay, I appreciate that. And you can see the numbers. I've already created $3,500 worth of potential revenue down the road had this been an item of money provided by the county.
And it will turn in the long term.
It might, depends on what the shooting community wants.
It might. I don't know, but you've been one of the ones that have said over and over that this shooting range needs to start paying for itself.
Yeah, absolutely. And it needs to pay for itself in avenues other than going into competition against Kerry Maupin and Dave from Dave Guns and all the other gun suppliers here. So by you agreeing to this, you were agreeing for the county to go into competition against Kerry and Dave and all of them. So.
I said I agreed to it for short term.
And what did Mark just say? It possibly could be long term. It will be long term. It's going to be, okay, well then let's do it for a month and then let's revisit it a month from now if it's not going to be long term.
Or do it for 3 months. Do it for a quarter. And then see.
Or just keep doing it the way you're doing it off the donations. I mean, if you have a return on it and you made an initial investment and you were able to buy the ammunition and it pays for itself, then what you do is you sell all that information. If you want to put that money back in a donation, put it back in a donation. Take what you made, your profit, and go buy some more ammunition and then build it up like that without coming in here wanting the taxpayers' money that you're going into business against.
I will increase the donation amount, but it will not help the bottom line of the county seeing the range help pay for itself.
Well, it's not a self-sustainable venture if it doesn't.
It can be.
If you're needing money.
Okay. I'm modeling this range after the Cameo Shooting Complex in Grand Junction, Colorado. That's a state-level owned shooting facility, and it's big. They got 1,800 acres. It's not all under shooting, though. Okay, they pay for themselves. They're revenue neutral after 3 years. So I'm trying to figure out how that guy did that. Because I know that once we get to a revenue neutral status, that Commissioner Matherly will happily get me a skid steer with a track drive and some accessories.
but you know, I mean, if we're Republicans and we're for limited government, all this is doing right now is growing the government. So that's what you'll be voting on, is to grow the government.
How does this grow the government?
Because it grows. Then now they have an ammunition department out there. Now we have more.
Well, I'm pretty excited that there's another option to get some ammunition in Otero County right now. I'm pretty excited to be able to get ammunition in Otero County right now.
There's places. Have you been down there to Kerry's and seen if he has a box and he didn't have any ammunition for you?
No.
Well.
I couldn't get it at Walmart.
Yeah, Walmart. I don't think they sell it. Oh, they might sell a little bit of stuff.
This whole thing, and I'm sorry, here I am, the old woman again. There is a big shortage in ammunition. Trying to get it online is almost impossible to do.
But if the government starts selling it, then the leverage is lost for the small businesses that are trying to get it, because you can just go down to the county place and buy it down there.
As that shooting range goes out there, it's a business of the counties.
Yeah.
But,
could I chip in something since?
Yes, state your name for the record.
My name is Chris Colson.
Okay.
I think that this could actually be mutually beneficial. I don't think it should be limited to look at just the county competing with gun owners, because the more people that can go to a range and learn how to shoot, and if they're buying the ammunition during a shooting course, and the range is not selling guns, guess what? They're going to want to go and get additional guns, and that's going to grow business for the local gun shops. And the local gun shops, because somebody has a place to go and shoot and get ammunition when they're shooting. You take somebody that's new and that's just bought a weapon, and they go off to the gun shop and they say, can you help, to the range, and they say, can you help me, I want to go on the course. Gosh, yeah, I only bought 50 rounds, I didn't know I'd need 200. Okay, I got you covered, because you're on the course. I think that would actually benefit, the gun shops in the town. I think it's mutually beneficial.
If you go out to the rifle range and you know that you can buy ammunition there, you're not going to stop at the local business on your way out there. You're just going to buy the ammunition from the gun range, and it's going to cut into the small businesses of the county.
I disagree with you,
Okay,
respectfully disagree with you.
That's fine.
Okay. Because you're going to find when you go talk to Ricochet Shooting Sports that they have their customer base that is faithful to them. When you go talk to Terry over at Ace Hardware, he has a customer base that goes in there. They talk to their staff and get what they need for their firearms and firearm needs. Dave has a large group of people because he's one of the largest stores here. Okay, so I think your thought that all of their customers are going to come running to the range to buy ammo, I think that's misplaced. There's no guarantee that I will have ammo. I don't make that guarantee to the customer base. If I have it, I sell it to them, and I limit the sales to them. I do not allow Commissioner Matherly to come show up and buy 5 cases of ammo so he can wait out the apocalypse. He can come shoot 100 rounds at a time there at the range. So whenever you want to come out and shoot, I've got I have some 9mm ammo for you, and you as well, and you too. Okay, so this is just something to help the range move in a direction that's going to allow it to start paying for itself, or to move to what I like to call a revenue neutral status. Okay.
Are you selling the ammunition at the competitive price that the places in town or something? You're not undercutting them?
No, I have about a 28% markup on these. Now, I'm sure that there are some facilities here in this county that, due to the scarcity, have marked the prices up. And I do know that there is a vendor here who bought a large supply of ammunition. Unfortunately, they got screwed over in shipping, and the product was delayed by 6 months. And the market has changed a little bit, so his prices are a little high, but that's because he bought it 6 months ago and he couldn't get it into his shelves. That's beyond all of our control. Okay, so my ammo is going to be a little bit lower than his prices, but I've got them up at a reasonable price. I'm looking at what they sell for on the internet, and I figure, hey, they're paying for the shipping. It's it's competitive, but it's not undercutting.
Well, selling ammo is, okay, so we agree that, yeah, it's not a problem to sell ammo out there. But I think it is a problem to take $40,000 out of the county taxpayers' pockets to start it. You've already been selling it out there. You already have an idea how much ammunition you can sell and what it's going to cost. Again, just keep doing what you're doing. Why do you need $40,000 of tax dollars?
Because you have said that you want that range to pay for itself.
Absolutely.
You want that range. You want it to go to a neutral,
That's right.
a revenue neutral status.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay, here's a way to do that.
By taking 40,000, and yeah.
Okay, you're going to get back 51,000.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so if I take your 40 and I give you back 50, this should be, I mean, you're going to have to be real bad at math or real adamant about not selling the ammo to want to take that situation and to move the facility, this department, to a revenue neutral status.
We could get it to a revenue neutral status to cut the spending out too. We could cut you down on all your requests for your skid steer with all your attachments and your loader and your backhoe and your fuel stipend, and I go on and on and on and on.
Perhaps
but I don't want to grow a big business out there. That's what I don't want to do at the end of the day.
Do you ultimately want this department to pay for itself? Yes or no? Do you want this department to pay for itself?
Absolutely.
How much money are you willing to invest into this endeavor to make it
I think we've already made a huge investment out there. Look at the facility that you have. Look at all the infrastructure around you out there. As we have Carolyn and the detention people out here, that are on the brink of shutting our detention center down because we can't pay a going wage
So all
or
the more
competitive
reason-
wage for our county employees, but yet we're gonna take $40,000 so you can get an ammunition selling business out here.
Okay. So all the more reason for the range to move more towards a neutral, a revenue neutral status.
Yeah, okay. Well, I don't think I need to go on. Y'all know where I stand.
So is there any other questions for me?
I don't have any more.
Do you have one?
No, he said I don't have any more.
Any other discussion?
No.
So I'll make a motion to request approval for the budget increase for the Sidney Paul Gordon shooting range in the amount of $40,000 for the purchase of ammunition. Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay.
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 Thank you, Mark.
All right, thank you for your time.
All right, we'll go back to item 19. Julianne, would you like to finish
Okay,
then?
so yes, we just need to discuss the two requests for community services funding. The Alamogordo Chamber of Commerce, they did not give a specific dollar amount. They wanted to leave it to the discretion of the commission. And then the Otero County Economic Development Council is requesting $25,000.
Okay, the chamber, the 5,000 was the number that they have asked for in the past, correct?
That's correct.
So I feel that we should leave that at that number.
Can I make a suggestion? Since ODEC requested so much more than they normally have, and the chamber really didn't ask for, they just left it up to us, I'd like to split the money between the two of them. Because the chamber does a lot for this community, bringing in jobs and stuff, and I know ODEC does too. But I don't see that one deserves 25,000 and one deserves 5.
Before we consider how we handle that, does OCDEC, did they have a pamphlet or anything? Do we know where the money's being sent? They can't,
Yeah.
they don't,
That should have been already submitted.
is it in the book? Okay.
I do have some extras here.
Yeah, because everybody else comes in and makes a presentation and a pitch for the money that they want, and, you know, I mean, I would think that if it was that important, they'd be here at the meeting today to explain more of
Do you need copies?
what they're wanting for.
No, I got that. I don't know
Yeah.
where you sent it to
So
me,
here's
but
two
I read it.
copies for you.
Okay.
This is OCDEC and this is a chamber.
Thank you, Julianne, yeah.
And actually, what Commissioner Markwart said would be a very fair, it would be more than what they asked for the previous year.
How much did we fund at OCDEC last year? Do you know, do you have it in front of you,
So we
Julianne?
awarded OCDEC last year $7,500.
Okay.
They actually never signed the agreement, and so they never received.
Even got the money?
Same thing with the Chamber of Commerce. We awarded them $5,000, but they never signed the agreement, and so they never received the funding.
We can't even give it to them. I'd say just if we're gonna fund them, keep the funding the same, and, you know, if y'all, I mean, I hung more on the balance the last time to, you know, that they didn't make the deadline, they didn't get the stuff in, they didn't even claim it the year before, and now we're just trying to spoon feed them and cram it down their mouths, you know? I mean, while we have so many pressing financial needs in the county anyways, you know, I mean, I don't know, I don't understand it.
know is that the chamber has told me how badly they need the money. I'm not understanding why the paperwork hadn't got here.
Yeah, well, why, if, you know, why didn't they collect it from last year? But this all got brought back up onto the agenda just because I wanted to try to get Ralph and those guys a raise out there because Ralph missed the deadline. But
I'm kind of in the agreement of leaving the two, the 5,000 and the 7,500. And if they don't come and get it, then it won't be that next year.
put it in motion, we'll vote on it then. Unless Vicky has something else. Sorry, Vicky.
How about if we add the 5,000 and the 750 together and split that evenly? I just think they should get the even amount.
I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, that's fine with me. You got that, Julia? We'll make them this, what is it, 6250? Whatever that number works out to. Okay. That's good. We'll make that decision. So, on the request for the approval of the resolution with the adjustments, resolution number 07-08-21/110-01, fiscal year 2021 to 2022, final adjustment adoption, 110th fiscal year. Can I get a second on that?
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. All right, that'll take us down to item 20. Request approval to post the no trespassing signs on the county property located near the Bridal Falls. Michael, did you get the legal writing or code ordinance number?
Yeah, the code statute is, for public property is 30-14-4. And in that same chapter of the code, there's also some requirements that say what you have to say on the sign. So, so I can send that to Pamela, and she can, whoever, you know, I've seen like Taco Bell, for instance, has signs ready-made that already has like the requisite stuff on it. So I think somebody probably already has it on stock.
And there was, correct me if I'm wrong, I want to make sure, there was 4 crossings at the, where you cross on the private property on the county roads, because that's where we were going to place them.
So there'd be four locations.
Yes.
And that all could be done on county-controlled roads.
Yes.
Any questions?
No.
If I could
No.
provide you with something, sir, if I may.
Sure.
And can we see those signs before they're put up? Because that whole mess at the women's club, I don't want to revisit that.
Last time you asked whether you asked us to ensure we got our signs done properly. And on the back page is the New Mexico law requirement of what the sign has to be. And these are now coming, we'll have them tomorrow. So these will be posted on our property.
Okay.
And that meets the private property owner requirements for the signs. we'll have those tomorrow, and that's what you replied us, one of the things you asked us to ensure we did.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
The only thing I see if you're doing it on your property is the spacing of your sign. Make sure you get that. The spacing of part of your sign, make sure you get that part of it.
Yep.
Correct too. So yes, we probably should approve the sign after the last episode. So if there's no further discussion on that, I'll make a motion for request approval to post the no trespassing signs on county property located near Bridle Falls. Can I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Takes us to item 21. Item 21, discuss and consider naming the new Riata Bridge, the Susan Lynn and Lindsay Suzanne Nicole Walker Memorial Bridge. This is open for discussion.
Yeah, I had this agenda item put on. As bad as I wanted to name it the Gwen Reese Bridge, but, you know, I felt that, you know, would be appropriate for us to consider the lady and her young daughter that lost their lives on that very same place that wouldn't have lost their lives if we would have had a bridge in place. And you know, Gwen, I tell you, I can't say enough about your persistence in this. But I just feel like, you know, if we did this, we put a sign up remembering these two people that lost their lives on it, and then, you know, all the official official recognition of the bridge. Maybe we could call it the Walker Bridge or the Walker Memorial Bridge or whatever we.
I totally agree.
Okay.
I have said that from the beginning, that I think it should be dedicated to the mother and child
Amen.
that were killed in that bridge, and I have absolutely
All right.
no qualms with that. I just thank God that I was here enough, that I fought for it.
Oh,
and it
yeah.
finally came about. And
You'll definitely, that's one you can definitely hang your hat on, Gwen, and we appreciate all your persistence.
But now I
and-
would still like, and I asked before to have an open house or, you know, the dedication
We will.
to that bridge.
Absolutely.
When it's open, I would like to have it dedicated.
And we'll nominate Gwen for cutting the ribbon. Yeah,
Well,
but,
Amy Barella did say that she thought I should be the first one to drive on.
there you go. That's a good idea right there, too.
I've already drove on it.
Huh?
I've already drove
You
on
Oh,
it.
no. Official, you'll be the first one to officially drive on it. There you go.
Well, you haven't been on the road yet, I mean, because that's all muddy and everything.
Yeah, I kind of had to be on it to get on the bridge, so.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, I went with Tom. We
Yeah,
went over.
just thank God it's,
Yeah.
you know, I pray every night, and,
Yep.
think that it is coming out.
Yeah.
So thank you. I am in total, no,
Good deal.
Any other discussion? All right, I make a motion to approve, there it is. Make a motion to discuss and consider naming the Riata Bridge after Susan Lynn and Lindsay Suzanne Nicole Walker Memorial Bridge. Can I get a second on that?
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, that moves us down to item 22. Request approval of joint power agreements for the financing and establishment of Tularosa Basin Regional Dispatch Authority for the public safety answering point. Mr. Black, would you like to fill us in?
Kind of like the bridge. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, this one was one that, when I got elected, it was one of my priorities. It needs to happen. The Otero County needs this, and I know it's been a a long time. A lot of people have tried, and we had a lot of people wanted power and control. So, but what we're doing here basically is this is a joint powers agreement. It's going to be between us, the city, and Cloudcroft. That will be the three entities that will use it right now. We invited Tularosa to be a part of it. The mayor didn't want to be a part of it, so we have since. When I sent this to Michael for review and everything, I think Tularosa was in it.
I think so.
Tularosa's been removed from that. That's the only changes we made since Michael was
I wonder if I may interject. Was it just the mayor's decision, or did it go before the village council, and did they discuss it?
My understanding is we had Chief Heisinger in a meeting. He took the JPA back to Thule, and basically the mayor said she didn't want no part of it. She wanted to keep her dispatch center right there in the village. So,
Yeah.
and if that.
I mean, it's a great. I've read through it and considered it since it. I mean, I'm on agreement with you and everything, but that was the first thing I thought was, why isn't Tularosa a part of it? And you know, I mean, as long as it was a joint decision by the village council, then I'd say move forward. But if it was only the mayor saying, "Oh no, we don't want that," then I would say, well, that's not the way the government works. They need to discuss it more in depth among the council.
Yeah, and we have told them that if this is presented to the village council and the council votes on it and wants to be a part of it,
we can integrate them into it later.
Yeah, we can put them right
Sure,
into it. It's not
sure.
a biggie. So this joint powers agreement is basically it's agreement between the three entities to go in together to combine and have a regional dispatch, and that's why we call it. Going to name it the Tularosa Basin Regional Dispatch Authority. It's not county, it's not city, it's not mountain. It's the whole basin. This is one step of many steps. This is just to get us started as far as having a joint powers agreement for the three entities. We will now have to take this and submit it to the state and get their approval on it. Once we get that, then we'll start looking at, bylaws, SOPs, construction. There's a lot to do after this, but this seemed to be the point where we couldn't get past this to even get started. In the past, it was something that they put together, and it was the last one I saw was like 30 pages long. They tried to do everything in the joint powers agreement. I think the joint powers agreement covers what we need to cover right now. Again, we'll have a 10-person board, that kind of the umbrella over it. We'll have a director, and then we'll have dispatchers and supervisors there. That'll all have to come later. That's something that a lot more work to go as far as dealing with again the bylaws for the board, the standard operating procedures for the dispatch center itself, and we have got copies of this stuff from MIRVDA, Artesia. We got one from Farmington. So it's not like we're recreating the wheel. It's already been done. There's dispatch authorities all over the state.
So I just wanted to clarify and make sure I'm understanding. Okay. This will still be this Otero County, Pinon, Weed, Chaparral.
Oh yeah.
That they will all still be their involvement in there.
Oh yeah. We will still be the dispatch center for all of those communities and stuff. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to join forces. We're going to add on to the dispatch center over here. We're going to, instead of 5 consoles, we'll probably wind up with about 12 consoles. We'll bring dispatchers from the city over, employ them over there, and they'll all be housed in one building right there.
Reading through it, David, it's, as far as representation goes, and the board will have, be the decision-making entity. But with their 10-person board, I see in the document here that, there's 4 from Alamogordo, there's 4 from the county, and there's just 2 from Cloudcroft. But, I don't know how y'all come up with the numbers of representatives, but you know, if Cloudcroft is committed to it, I would feel like they should have equal representation. They should have an equal number of votes as Alamogordo or the county. I mean, that's.
And here's kind of the discussion that we had on that is we're going to find that Otero County and the city are going to have 95% of the call volume and everything.
That's
there.
right.
Village of Cloudcroft, they're going to have a very small number.
Yeah.
And if you kind of look to where the county will take care of 50% of the budget, city will take care of 50 for the first year.
Yeah.
And then we'll break it down number of calls.
Sure.
And then, you know, Cloudcroft, if by chance we get up a huge number or something, which I worked up there for 9 years.
Yeah.
We're not going to get there.
Yeah.
But we'll kind of balance it out on
Sure.
the number of calls and adjust the pay and stuff.
But I would still lean more on the precept of just equal representation, you know, I mean, because that's something that, you know, that we should have in our republic, you know, I mean, we get so caught up in this democracy thing where it's just where the most people are, they've got all the voice, but I would still, I would lean more to the fact that if these are the three major entities, the county, the city, and the village of Cloudcroft, I feel like I would like to see everybody have the same equal representation. Even though Cloudcroft won't have as much activity, I still like them to have the same vote, you know.
Right.
That's just my opinion.
The problem with that, boy, I understand your equal deal, but Alamogordo and Otero County is the one putting the bill, Cloudcroft's not paying anything.
Yeah.
So,
But it's all tax dollars, you know, I mean, it's all tax dollars.
it is, but it still has to be in it. They have a police force of 3 up there? 4. Versus what we have.
I know, but it's still, I believe in taxation with representation.
Anyway, what is the finance on this? Have you got I mean, what, everywhere's in here, but there's no dollar signs on it.
Right, and that's kind of our next step. We've got to put that together as far as, you know, salary, benefits, retirement stuff. There's a lot of things that's our next step. We get this sent to DFA and get it approved and get it back from the state. Then there's some people in Santa Fe that we've talked to already. They will come down and they will look at, okay, here's what we have here right now. Here's what the city has as far as equipment, consoles and stuff like that. They will look at what we have and then they will tell us, okay, we're going to give you this equipment. Okay, there's money that is set aside for us to do this. We haven't used it yet because we haven't done anything. But there's a lot of money up there that they're going to help us with equipment and building all this stuff up. So, like my communications budget, you know, it's what, about $100,000 a year. I'm going to have to look at like 13 employees and salary benefits. You know, that's something we will have to put together. And I'll tell you, we haven't even started that. There's no sense in doing all this if this doesn't get approved, and that's why it was left out of here. We will have to come back to the board again, and you know, with some numbers as far as employees and, you know, everything that we're going to need to make this work.
Okay. Any other questions?
No, I think it's a first step.
And I'll tell you, I watched the city commission meeting when they went through this. They were very happy to approve it. They even applauded Richie for finally getting something to the commission. And that's something Chief Denton and I have been working on this for quite a while. We're going to make it happen. It needs to happen really bad. And so we're looking at maybe like a year and a half before he's gone. We would love to have this in place and have a dispatch center out here for the entire county.
All right.
I actually worked on the first enhanced 911 system in South Carolina when I was working for the telephone company, so this is full circle for me.
Oh, yeah.
All right, no further discussion on this. I would make a motion for approval on the joint powers agreement for the financing and establishment of Tularosa Basin Regional Dispatch Authority for the Public Safety Answering Point. Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you, Dave.
Thank you,
Thank
David.
you.
Thank you very much.
This is gonna bring us down to the commission discussion conference. Go ahead and start it off. Tom took me out and we drove around the shooting range. I now understand why there were so many ricochets out there with the
No
amount
doubt.
of rocks that came out of those embankments. It looked very nice and looked very neat, so hopefully it'll be a little safer on that. Tom and I went to all the property owners, the 4 property owners on getting their easements for the Appler low water crossing bridge. Got all that taken care of. They were all for it. There was no argument at all on that. Went Monday night down to Chaparral on a meeting that they are wanting to either incorporate or become their own county. So this was kind of, they've been talking about this for a long time, but they're trying to take steps on trying to figure out whether or not the residents of Chaparral even want to pursue go that direction. So there's going to be several more meetings on that, I can assure you. I don't know how much they really realize what it's going to cost them to try to be their own town. I made a recommendation to them to come talk to Alamogordo just on their finances. They're saying they're just under 30,000 people down there. Alamogordo's 34, 35, so it would be a comparable to see what their yearly cost, what it really costs. So kind of left that with that. Met with, a couple weeks ago, Ed Braston from, and GB Oliver with the Chamber got hold of me. There's some DOD grant money available. So we've been working on that. I got with Tom and tried to think what we could do. This has to reflect or benefit military. So we came up with the idea of the La Luz Gate Road. So we got Mario from Wilson & Wilson involved in it. They are working, they've done several of these grants and stuff. Their deadline on it is July 12th. Well, there's no way we can put together a full package deal this year, so we will have it ready for next year. That's a 6-mile stretch of road right there, which is, it is a county road and it will be within a year or two probably coming up for a major rebuild because it is in very bad shape. Holloman, the commander out there, is all for it. He's behind it for us. That is basically their secondary emergency exit. So it will benefit them quite a bit. So went out while we were at the La Luz Gate Road driving around. We went out to the Riata Bridge. It was right after one of the big rains, just to kind of look and see what happened. And it is a very nice bridge. Everything's coming along. It's going to be a plus to Otero County. And everything new is going to have a little settlement. When you've got dry dirt and all of a sudden you throw water on it, it's all going to kind of settle a little bit. So I'm sure they'll have to address that riprap, that sink a little bit. But other than that, that's about it. I asked Pamela this morning if there's no ruling or no reason why we can't go back to all 3 of us up here. I need to ask you if you all are in agreement for that.
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't see the reason for the separation anymore if everything is what it's supposed to be. So that's about That's all I have right now.
Yeah, I support you coming back up here and sitting down on the bench, Gerald, and I think that, yeah, it's be better suited, all of us sitting shoulder to shoulder. I've been out to the Riata Bridge, checked the progress out there. It looks great. Looking forward to the work that's going to be done on Appler, the low water crossing out there. We're making strides as far as that goes as well. I wasn't here over the 4th of July. I wanted to be, but kind of the situation that I'm in, it's been extremely hard. Still is hard. Just functioning in the community. This recall deal makes it very difficult. I can't say that it doesn't, and I won't keep beating a dead horse, but whenever I see the articles and such in the Alamogordo Daily News about the complaints that they have against me, and again, we can go back to public record and video as far as the county's involvement in the complaint. The last meeting that we had, when we considered the travel voucher, Julianne admitted that the county made a mistake in issuing that voucher, but yet the media or the people of the county or the people that are so vindictive against me will never recognize those areas. They won't recognize that the county is the one that approved and paid the travel voucher, in which is now being used against me in this recall. Also as well, it was in the paper just the other day about how I had called into county commission meetings, and that was one of the reasons they were recalling me whenever we went over our last county commission meeting, that's a common practice in Otero County, and it's totally legal. And I can go on, about, I feel like the injustice is on the civil complaint hearing from the lawsuit that they filed against me for the recall. As you guys know, it was scheduled on the very same day as our monthly county commission meeting, where I couldn't even go to the hearing on the recall because of my duties to my oath and wanting to be present right here to conduct the business of the county. So it's too bad that the media, the Alamogordo Daily News, that they want to just focus on the things that I've done, but the things that I've done has been in direct relationship or correlation or the result of the county's decisions as well. So I feel that it's been unfair. If there was legal grounds, if I had done things that were illegal and it justified my resignation or my stepping down, I'd be the first one to admit it and step down. But I feel like the Otero County could have done more to represent me and defend me. Michael can't even tell me when he found out that we had broken the travel policy, which should be a simple question for anybody to answer. So I just want to say that my life has been completely impacted. The statement that Gerald and Vicki and Michael wrote has been just added salt into a wound. And I don't think that y'all might just be sitting there saying, oh, he's just crying again. Oh, he's just feeling sorry for himself. But y'all haven't been in my shoes. You haven't been where I've been. You haven't been right here and watched Paul Sanchez with his computer open in front of Michael on this bench right here. And if anybody wants to question that, I have a picture of it on my phone. I mean, I just feel like if the county would have had my back just a little bit, my life wouldn't be where it's at right now, and I wouldn't be being slandered the way I've been. So I guess, yeah, that's my sob story for the day. But again, my oath is what means more to me than anything else, the oath that I've taken to this office. And I plan on being here and fighting for to represent the county to the most of my ability on such things as protecting small businesses that was just done here today, or we're fighting to open our county up, in which I had an agenda item where the commissioners could have voted to open Otero County up. We could have voted not to comply with all of the mask mandates. But so I've tried to hold the line. Everybody's a critic, everybody's an armchair quarterback. But I've tried to do the best I could do, and I've done it with a clear conscience. And if anybody wants to say that I've used my office for personal gain, I just like to ask them, where in the world did I gain personally by sitting in this chair right now? Because it's cost me everything. Relationships with people that were once really good friends now look at me like I'm an enemy, and it's been very difficult. But we'll just see where it goes from here. Thank God I signed an engagement letter with Sidney Powell, defending the Republic firm. Sidney's going over a lot of my appeals, writing my appeals, and I also met Lynn Wood last weekend and engaged with him as well. So we just hope that the truth comes out, that all the right is made right, and all the slander and the lies and the accusations will one day be something of the past, I pray. So that's my piece.
Well, since our June meeting, I attended my first Solid Waste Authority meeting, and that went really well. We bought they were going to buy a new water wagon for the big old dump down there. And I attended the 100% Otero meeting. And for my other job, I attended a tax and revenue meeting, which had some good information in it for the restaurants and bar owners in Otero County. It's actually for the whole state, but from March 1st through June 30th, there's going to be a gross receipts tax holiday. So you'll still collect the tax, but you don't have to turn it into the state. So you're basically making that money yourself. So that was kind of a good thing to share. I attended the PNM Power Partner meeting, and then I was invited up to speak at the grand opening of the new High Rolls Community Center, which was a blast. They had great food, they had some good entertainment, and some really good people. So if you guys get a chance, go up there and check them out. That was a lot of fun. And then I went over to the Flickinger Center and saw the 44th Army Band, and our very own Julianne Hall is a mean saxophone player. Did not realize that. So that was very enjoyable. Really, really had fun. And then I went out and met with Tom Porter out at the road shop. And then on July 3rd and 4th, I participated in the Mescalero Parade, and Gerald was, and then the Cloudcroft Parade, and Gerald was also there. And then on July 4th, I was in the Alamogordo Parade down here. And the reason I even bring that up is because I was really glad to see how many people turned out for 4th of July this year. Mescalero was amazing. They've got a 3-mile long parade, and it was lined both sides of the street. Everybody was in red, white, and blue and happy to be there. Same thing in Cloudcroft, same thing in Alamogordo. So I was really thankful to see that. So that's what I've been up to.
County Manager?
Last week I spoke several times with Senator Griggs. He met with the governor's staff in an effort to acquire funding for our courthouse. In working with him, they're going to look at asking for half of what we need, and then we would bond the other half. If you recall, the last estimates we had, it was a $12 million project. So now we just sit and wait and see if the governor agrees. Senator Griggs assured me she has the money. It's just whether she wants to give it to us. And then Otero County would be setting the precedents for counties receiving state funding in this unfunded mandate.
Good.
And that's all I have.
County Attorney? Before Michael gets started, I'd like to tell him that this is his last Otero County Commission. So I hope you great luck on your adventures ahead of you. So appreciate everything that you've done, Michael.
Thank you, Commissioner. So this is my last meeting. I'm headed to be the county attorney in Sandoval County. Advertising is in progress for my replacement. I know at least one application's already been received. The local bar received notice of it. The state bar magazine is going to have ad for it. I think in next week's issue, every attorney in the state gets that. So, and I've been in touch with our various lawyers to let them know about the transition. I'm finishing up a memo detailing everything for my successor, so when they come in, they'll have some roadmap of the things to deal with. Not been any progress really on any of our litigation. We did, there was a mediation in the Jeff Swanson case with the 10th Circuit, and there was a settlement proposal that Mr. Swanson rejected, so that case is still set for appeal. So Damian Martinez, who his firm has our outside counsel contract already, he's going to work with you until somebody comes in, and I'm going to let him know, give him a copy of the memo as well, including I'll tell him about the mobile home issue and that. So you're in good hands with Damian and his colleagues. They're really sharp. Damian, it was the county attorney in Hidalgo County, and his partner is the county attorney in Grant County. So they'll do you well during the transition. And there's various matters they're working on. People know about our taxes and our bonds and everything. There's always percolating, but tried to make sure everybody's don't want to leave anybody hanging. So, and it's interesting that we vote on the PSAP thing. I recall one of the very first things that was dropped on my desk when I started 3 years ago was Paul Crowley gave me one of the 150 drafts of the PSAP agreement. I have in my office at least a foot-thick stack of past drafts on that, and so it's good that that's finally getting done. And Trent mentioned the timber and fire station. I recall that was another of the issues Paul dropped on me because we weren't sure if we actually own that property or not. And so, anyway, so two of the things I started on are finally coming to fruition. So, anyway, so that's enough about me. I've got two fairly quick items for the executive session. So
at this time, I guess I'll make a motion to hold the executive session under MSA 1978 10-15-1 to discuss the items strictly on the agenda. Okay, need to make a roll call?
Commissioner Natalie?
Here.
Commissioner Griffith?
Here.
Here.
Did you leave it on the door?
No.